Good morning, my Teaserking family. How's everybody today? I am fine. Let's take a look at week 4. First news, Lenore Sellers, South Carolina quarterback, will be playing, but I haven't seen the line move. I still see it at 10, which I'm a little surprised at. I would have thought it would have went back down to 6 or 7 or something. Well, we'll take another look. We did lose last night. We had Rutgers and the teaser getting 8.5, and they were up. Gave up a late touchdown, and I guess there was a turnover and gave up another late touchdown to lose by 10. So we lose that. So now everybody buying, whoever they were with, so let's say they were with Michigan under. They weren't, but let's say they were. I would then put another teaser out with the Michigan under with somebody new. That's just the way I do it because I still like the Michigan under. It's just that's why I don't like playing the Thursday, Friday games. It's a different day. Although I'm surprised at Rutgers at Iowa. I'm very surprised got 38 points with that offense. So I don't know. Good morning, David. Just a second. Let me get my coffee. Just 1 second. Okay, my apologies. I put my coffee on. It took a while. Too early for breakfast, so I have my coffee. All right. So let's look at the line for today in college. I went through the injuries already. There wasn't much there. Well, let's see what gold ended up at. What the fuck? They changed the thing. All right. Gold 36.85 was up $41 yesterday. Silver 43.09. I don't know what they did to the site. I hate when they change the site to change the site. And silver 43.09. Anyway, so silver broke 43, gold getting close to 37. There's been resistance at 37. Twice it hit 37.03 and then it dropped back, but I don't think it's going to keep doing that. All right, let's get on to why we're here, which is college football today. I went through injuries just to really check Lenore Sellers, South Carolina's quarterback, and they play Missouri. Hey, Real D. Good morning. Free pick is Michigan, Nebraska under. Really kind of weak quarterbacks, really strong defenses. Michigan likes to run the ball. Nebraska will probably try to run the ball. Don't see a lot of points. See a 24-20 game, a 20-17 game, like the Oklahoma game. Should be pretty low scoring. What's hard is it skews the Oklahoma game because it's not like it was a really good Michigan offense. So you don't know how good Oklahoma's defense is. And I keep looking at that Auburn game against Oklahoma today, and I keep wanting to play Auburn, but I haven't yet. I might. Still digesting that. All right, let's go through the line. We got North Texas 2.5, 50.5. This is the noon games and then all the way through. 2.5, 50.5 to Army. TCU 6.5, 64.5 to SMU. Vegas 2.5, 49.5 to Miami of Ohio. Louisville 26.5, 51.5 to Bowling Green. Clemson 17.5, 54.5 to Syracuse. They have a lot of injuries, Clemson, or I don't know if they're the second team, third string, or who, but there's like 10 injuries to Clemson where these guys are listed as out. Klubeck doesn't look very good anyway. Syracuse, I don't know. They seem to have a good coach. Quarterback's questionable. Although he is good, he's the backup from Notre Dame. But apparently not good enough to start, and they keep bringing in these other guys. So we'll see there. Wisconsin 10, 44.5 to Maryland. Utah 3.5, 57.5 to Texas Tech. What did we do? Yeah, it's about the same. Arkansas 7, 61.5 to Memphis. Tennessee 39.5, 68.5 to UAB. UAB is not that bad. I'm surprised it's 40. They have a pretty good offense. Their defense sucks. Look for Tennessee to definitely score a lot, but you're laying 40. It's a toughie. Oregon 33.5, 56.5. It's a rivalry game. Oregon State stinks. Lou Lafayette 2.5, 50.5 to Eastern without their quarterback. Eastern is a where's that? Eastern is an over team. In case you're wondering what type of team they are, they're an over team. UCF 7, 46.5 to North Carolina. Florida State 45.5, 56.5 to Kent State. Toledo 14, 48.5 to Western Michigan. Now, Western is the Z team. So if you're looking for that, which I use a lot, love betting against the Z team if I have a good team, and this would be one of the cases. Buffalo 5.5, 44.5 to Troy. Here's the Oklahoma 7, 46.5 to Auburn. Auburn went and beat Baylor at Baylor pretty good. Baylor doesn't have the tough defense, but it was a high-scoring game, which we played it over in week 1. I don't know how good Oklahoma is. Auburn, with Oklahoma's quarterback from last year, Arnold, He's a good running quarterback, not a great passer, but with Hugh Freeze, they run the ball very well. Total wise, I don't know. I don't know what Oklahoma is. Mature, he's okay. He's not all that. And Auburn has this quarterback if he can run. Oklahoma, we don't know. I think this will be a close game, in my opinion. Ole Miss 11.5, 61.5. UConn 21, 53.5 to Ball State. Ball State is a Z team, but UConn's pretty good this year, but 21 could be a big number. Michigan 1.5, 47.5. That number has really not, well, it was 46.5. This is their free play. This is an underplay. Nebraska with an 8 defense, Michigan with a 14. Not that Nebraska, let's see the best team Nebraska's played and see if the 8 defense is warranted. Yeah, they beat Cincinnati 20-17, Akron 68-0, and HB, whatever that is, 59-7. So yeah, 20-17 against Cincy. But still getting the shutout to Akron and the 0, the defense just got better and better. We know Michigan, they lost to Oklahoma by 11, getting 12, so we won that one. Where do we go here? So looking at Michigan's defense, which is a 14, playing Oklahoma, gave up some points to New Mexico, and then killing Central. Having the loss, look for Michigan to be intense. The quarterback really is not that good at this point. He might get better next year, but he's in over his head, and he shouldn't be playing at this point. You can't play a freshman. He's used to playing high school guys. Now he's playing college guys with 4 or 5 years experience. He's going to get wiped out. Scoring a lot against Central Michigan, who is a Z team, doesn't really show anything. What I get frustrated with is the announcers or the radio guys. Oh, look how good Michigan did. And you're like, it was a Z team. Like, hello. Sort of like I'm training them on the Lions. Like they starting to admit, yeah, Green Bay's a real good team and the Bears suck. And so they're starting to realize the difference. I do that a lot with the Tigers, and they're starting to understand. And when they do the Tiger games, they're obviously listening to me, and they're going, yeah, they're hitting kind of weak pitching, real quick on the Tigers. So they've lost another game. They have a 2.5 game lead. I would bet they won't make the playoffs because there's no switch you can flip. And the biggest reason I say that is Scoobel just lost. Scoobel lost Thursday night, 3-1 to Cleveland. Cleveland's 2.5 back on an 8-game winning streak. The Tigers lost with Morton. He didn't even go through the first inning. Atlanta's hot. They're going to get swept by Atlanta, and their lead will basically disappear. And the way they do it with this 5-6 days, Scoobel won't pitch for 5 or 6 more days. That's idiotic. So basically, they don't have any good pitching besides Scoobel. And if Scoobel lost, the other 4 guys are going to lose. So I know they have Atlanta now, and then they get Boston next weekend. I don't know who they got in between. If it's anybody any good, they probably won't win another game. And they'll do what Minnesota did last year, which was lose 15-20 in a row. And the Tigers, I doubt will make the playoff. They don't really have hitting. They have like a bunch of 250 hitters, but they only face righties or lefties. So if he's a lefty, he only faces righties. So he's really not a 250 hitter. He's really about a 210 hitter, but he only hits opposite hand. And so they're in trouble. I would assume they'll get swept by Atlanta, and then there goes their lead. And then now what do? They can't, they try to cheat at home with stealing pitches, but even that's they still can't hit. All right, back to football. So Michigan, Nebraska under is your free play. No locks in college. I was close to a couple, but I didn't. And then 4 locks in the pros going tomorrow. So, like Michigan, I probably put with a pro, one of my pro locks or something. Purdue, Notre Dame 24 and a half, 50 and a half. Notre Dame is off of 2 losses. Purdue has major revenge, losing 70-0 or something close to that last year. Purdue has a Vegas coach. They have a much better quarterback. They were able to drive against USC, who's a very good team, but USC picked them in the end zone twice. Hopefully, Purdue learned from that. Can Purdue pull the upset? They have a quality team, and Notre Dame's defense is really weak this year. Miami lit them up, and then A&M lit them up. Purdue's quarterback's good. He doesn't run around, but he's good. So I it's hard to say, but Purdue will give them a game today. But Notre Dame with 2 losses. If Notre Dame was 2-0, I'd be all over Purdue. But because Notre Dame's 0-2 and has to win, I'm going to watch. James Madison 8.5, 46.5 to Liberty. Duke 3, 56.5 to North Carolina State. Old Mississippi State 23.5, 48.5 to Northern Illinois. Georgia Tech 24.5, 52.5 to Temple, who's improved, but I don't think they can handle Georgia Tech. Kansas 12.5, 54.5 to West Virginia. West Virginia loses to Ohio, and they beat Pittsburgh coming from 14 down. Kansas, excellent team, excellent defense, good quarterback in Daniels. West Virginia is a 14 defense, Kansas an 18. They gave up 21 to Pitt. They gave up 17 to Ohio. Kansas is an 18, so it's a little bit high for me, but I do like Kansas. Arkansas State 4.5, 57.5 to Kennesaw State. Florida International 4.5, 54.5 to Delaware. South Alabama 15.5, 51.5 to Coastal Carolina. South Alabama is an over team. Coastal Carolina a Z team. This line moved from 14 to 15.5. Thinking about it, haven't played it yet. Going against the Z team is South Alabama, 28 defense, and we'll see. South Carolina, Missouri. Now, this line's still 10, and I really don't understand if Sellers is playing. This line seems high. There's a 9.5, another 9.5, another. So you can take Missouri at a 9.5. Let me mark it 9.5. I got it 10. That gets you down to 3.5 in a teaser. Missouri is the A team. South Carolina is an under. They're not scoring. A 17 defense. Missouri with the superstar quarterback, 566 a game to South Carolina, 254. So even though Sellers is playing, had a concussion, even though he's playing, they're not moving the ball, and against the Missouri team, that's the problem. Hey, Todd, getting ready to umpire this morning. Oh, good luck. You doing the Tiger game? Got my bets in yesterday. Look, Iowa on my teaser. Took Iowa, and well, good for you. Oh, do they really have a quarterback? There was their defense. What's your opinion? What's your question, Todd? Do they really have a quarterback there? Was their defense? What are we talking? What team? Is Seller playing or game? No, he's playing. He's cleared to play. He had a concussion. He got a helmet to helmet, and they said he's playing last night. So you're still getting 9.5, 10. If you want South Carolina, I don't know. I want Missouri because they're such the better team, but I don't know. Now that Sellers is playing, I thought the line would come back down to like 7. Missouri's outstanding team, strong offense. Well, do they really have a quarterback there? Where was their defense? What's your opinion? I think you're talking the Iowa game. I don't know. Iowa's quarterback. I didn't. I got to see the highlights. I haven't seen. I know they lost to Iowa State. So you're saying, I know Rutgers has a quarterback. He's okay. So you're saying, does Iowa have a quarterback? Okay. I will watch and then get back to, well, I can look at the box score, but is he a running quarterback? Because I saw he ran for 2 touchdowns late in the game. Western Kentucky, 8.5, 54.5 to Nevada. This came down from 10 to 8.5. It's getting interesting. I can go under a field goal. The total didn't go. Interesting. I'll have to check. The injuries aren't really showing up here. I got to go to covers.com. Western Kentucky, yeah, no injuries. So they're not updating injuries on scores and odds, but on covers they are. Air Force Boise, there's a lot of players out for Air Force. Boise's 11.5, 51.5. I normally love Air Force in this situation, but their defense is at 31 this year. Let's see what's going on with my Air Force team. They played 2 games. They beat Bucknell 49-13, and then Utah State beat them 49-30. So really they're a 49 defense playing to Utah State, who's not a great offense. So forget Bucknell. That's why you go to here and you can see the score, and then you can say, well, we'll throw out that one. Let's just analyze the 30, but that doesn't give you enough. But it is surprising Air Force gave up 49. Todd, Iowa quarterback Gronkowski, 200 yards passing, including an Eagle tush push 1-yard touchdown. That's funny. I didn't know it was legal in college. I know it's legal in the pros. He's from like South Dakota or something. So he transferred up. I've seen some weird transfers this year. Guy from Yale, the guy at which college is it? He's from Abilene Christian. So they're getting Division II guys, sort of like the pros where they're going to Carson Wentz. What a joke that is. So I don't know if they have a court. I'll have to watch it. Like I said, I mean, Rutgers was leading. I had Rutgers plus 8.5. They were leading late in the game, up by 4. And I thought, oh, okay, well, this should be good. Even at 10, well, just take a knee or kick a field goal. So anyway, that's what happens. Marshall, 2.5, 46.5. Marshall, under team, but they lost all their players. I don't know that they're a very weak favorite here. Middle Tennessee's a W with a 30. Let's look at Middle Tennessee. Do they have any chance in this game? See, this would be a good dog to play. Middle Tennessee lost by 20 to App State, lost 42-10 to Wisconsin, and beat Nevada 14-13. Oh, that makes me like Western Kentucky then if Nevada lost to Middle Tennessee. So Middle Tennessee's live here. That was a road win at Nevada 14-13. Marshall stinks. Interesting. So if you're looking to bet against a weak favorite, I'd say Middle Tennessee is one of them. I'm not betting it, but maybe. BYU, 6.5, 50 to East Carolina. BYU, very strong defense this year. Beware of that. Miami, 7.5, 50.5 to Florida. Is Miami really that strong? They did beat Notre Dame. Florida looks like shit. The kid threw 5 picks against Bobby's team last week against LSU. They lost to South Florida. Let's see if Miami's for real. My favorite dog of the day, Indiana, 6.5, 52.5 to Illinois. I don't understand this. I am not seeing injuries. This should be a 3-point spread, 6.5. Really? Thank you. Baylor, my Baylor team, 2.5, 60.5. To Arizona State. I don't know what to do with it. Arizona State with a fairly good defense, a 19. Baylor with their 30 defense. So I'm assuming high scoring, but I'm a little afraid of Arizona State. But you got the game in Baylor. Baylor with the number one quarterback, Robertson, in the country. Something like 10, 11 touchdowns to one interception, like 350 yards a game. It's typical Baylor football. It's explosive, and they don't have a defense. Usually it's just an automatic Baylor over. We had them against TCU, and we had them against SMU, easy overs. Not really sure what ASU is. Let's take a look at ASU. If you click on the team, you get the results. They beat my Texas State team 34-15, Old Mississippi State 24-20, and Northern Arizona 38-19. So they're really not scoring a lot. Losing to Old Mississippi State, beating Texas State, okay, because they're a little bit less, but they haven't really scored a lot or played. 24-20 to Mississippi State makes me double clutch on the Baylor over here. But it does make me like Baylor a whole lot more. Let's see what Baylor's been. Well, we know Baylor, they lost to Auburn, which is why I'm itching on Auburn today, 38-24. SMU, 48-45. We get the 100-point game with Baylor. I had the over in the first one with Auburn. That got to 72. That's why you pretty much like taking the Baylor overs and the TCU overs, and the teams like that really score a lot but don't have a great defense. It's the perfect over team. I don't know. Arizona State, they're struggling a little. We'll see about taking Baylor. Stanford, Virginia, 16.5, 49.5. Great quarterback from North Texas. And Stanford has to travel all the way to Virginia. Big advantage of Virginia there. Tech 3, 50.5 to Southern Miss. Southern Miss, very live dog here. Washington 21, 52.5. Washington has the new quarterback. He's a sophomore. He's lightning. He can run and pass. We'll see what Washington does. Washington State got buried by North Texas last week. Georgia State, or Vanderbilt 27.5, 53.5, and Georgia State is a Z team with a 40 defense, and here comes Dagia. Go Vandy. Texas and Sam Houston. Sam Houston is a Z team, but Texas isn't scoring. A great defense, no offense. Arch Manning sucks. Who'd you rather have, Daggio or Arch Manning? I mean, it's not even close. You'd rather have Daggio. You'd rather have the Missouri quarterback. You'd rather have the Baylor quarterback, the TCU quarterback, on and on and on. So I don't buy this. I don't buy this 40 points at all. I would be careful. Texas is going to be – we play Oklahoma, it's under. We play maybe Georgia. Well, Georgia doesn't even have a defense anymore. We'll find the lower scoring teams, but that Oklahoma game coming up is going to be an under. Absolutely. Lou Monroe and UTEP. UTEP 6.5, 47.5. Lou Monroe is Z team. UTEP is an under team. UTSA, Colorado State. UTSA 4.5, 58.5 to Colorado State. UTSA, great quarterback, McCown, over team. Colorado State E team, 27 defense. Colorado 12.5, 45.5 to Wyoming. That line's down from 13. Wyoming is an under team. They don't score, but they have a fairly good defense. Colorado is an E team. Coach Prime, he misses Prime Jr. Cal 14, 46.5 to San Diego State. Cal's an A team. San Diego State's a B team. Don't know yet. Too early to tell. USC 18.5, 55.5 to Michigan State. It's an 11 o'clock game for Michigan State going west. That is a big problem. And USC looks pretty good. Maivia looks good. The quarterback, the defense looks much improved. They got the UCLA defensive coordinator who wasn't great last year, but now he's got his players in. I got USC and Washington to win the Big Ten. And Fresno State 46.5 to Hawaii. Fresno State's turned into more of a running team because Kurt Warner Jr. does not know how to he throws to the wrong team too much. He's just not a quarterback. We like Kurt Warner. Nothing personal against the son, but he's got 0 touchdowns and 6 picks. We're not betting him. Okay, Todd with Iowa's quarterback. So, yeah, Sellers is playing as far as I know. So I went through the injuries. I really didn't. We can go through them now. So for the injuries, we go to covers.com. And at covers.com, we go to college football, and then we actually go to injuries. So you actually sports in college or pro, and then you come down here to injuries, boom. So we started at the Air Force, and they got a tackle, offensive tackle, cornerback, linebacker out right off the chute, which is why they're getting all these points from Boise, I guess. Boise's not that strong. I'm just going to read the outs. Alabama doesn't play. App State doesn't play. Arizona doesn't. Arizona State, a cornerback out, and a lot of probables. And then you get down to the bottom, tight end out, 2 offensive guards out, cornerback out, the backup quarterback's out, another wide receiver, another cornerback. So they've got injuries, Arizona State, and they're going to play my Baylor team. Starting to like Baylor more and more. Baylor with Robertson, Arizona State, they're good. With Scadaboo, they're good. The question is if they replace Scadaboo. Let's see. Auburn's fine. Ball State, we don't care about. See, I love this. Ball State, and they got like 20 guys listed as questionable, undisclosed. But nobody's out. They're all just questionable. I don't know what the hell the coach is doing. Baylor, linebacker out. Bunch of probables. A tight end out. A wide receiver out. A running back out. And a safe. Now, the running back was out since August 9th, so we don't care about him because they've been playing without him, so he's not a factor. The other guy, September 17th, wide receiver and a tight end, which is big for Baylor. They got a wide receiver and a safety, doubtful, and a linebacker out. This is the problem with football. Because of the injuries, you've got to know what team do you have. So as Real D's asking about Lenore Sellers, it makes a difference whom the injury is and what team do you have. So without Sellers, South Carolina is a different team, but we don't even know who their backup is. With Sellers, they're okay. He got a concussion. Is he really 100%? I doubt it, but he's going to play. And this is why we look at the injuries, and the question is, who are these guys on Baylor that are injured? There's a lot of probables. So they're out a linebacker. They're out, looks like a safety, a wide receiver, another wide receiver, and a tight end. Now, this is a team that throws the ball a lot, so that's pretty important for them. But is it their star receiver? They used to highlight it. So if it was bold, you knew it was a starter. Now they don't do that. Hey, David. Will I do NFL? Quickly, I'll just go through the lines. Tomorrow I'll go more through the injuries, but the injuries we know about already, I'll go through those. So Baylor, are these meaningful injuries or not? And we'll see. They're all current. They're all September 16th, 17th. Let's see. Bowling Green with 20 questionable undisclosed, as is Buffalo. They got 25 of them. BYU, everybody's healthy. Charlotte played yesterday. Clemson, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 guys out for Clemson. So don't get too excited taking Clemson against Syracuse, and that could be a reason that they're 1-2, right? But they're playing Syracuse, so look for Syracuse to be able to give them a game with all these injuries. Coastal Carolina, 2 guards, a linebacker, and a tackle are out, and another tight end. Colorado, Prime, everybody's playing. You got to play with Prime. Even if you're hurt, you're playing. He doesn't allow injuries. The Delaware, everybody's good. Duke has 4 guards out, and they're kind of a running team and an offensive team. So I don't know. You lose 4 guards. How many guards do you have? And are they third strings, or some of them have to be starters? So is it a big deal? And then how many linemen do you have? 20 linemen? I don't know. East Carolina, wide receiver. Well, no, these are August injuries we don't care about. Florida, big game, nobody out. Florida State, a running back and a linebacker are out September 1st, so we don't care. Again, it's hard to lay the 40 points in these games. They pretty much end up covering it, but it's still hard to, the starters won't be in there in the fourth quarter, and you're relying on the backups to cover for you. Georgia's off this week, or whoever. Georgia Tech, cornerback, and 2 running backs are out. Well, the running back's in August, so we don't care. The other one, we don't know, but neither of them are named Haynes King, so we don't care. Hawaii, the quarterback's questionable with a high ankle sprain. Houston's not playing this week. Our Illinois, some August injuries, nothing current. Indiana, running back out, BB. I wonder if he's related to Don BB, probably. That's it. Iowa, we saw. Iowa State, they're not playing, so we don't care. Kansas, running back out, Schneider. And then they got a tight end out, a D lineman out, an offensive guard out, a cornerback out, a defensive lineman out. So they got 2 defensive linemen out, a cornerback. So this is where it gets difficult. Are they starters or backups? Jalen Daniels is out. Yeah, so Fields is out. Daniels is out. J.J. McCarthy, they just benched him. He sucks, which we knew he sucks. So I don't understand how Minnesota's so surprised by this. And I think that's the quarterbacks. Fields, McCarthy, Daniels, Joe Burrow, of course. Yeah, that whole Cincinnati, Minnesota is all backups. Kansas State, they don't play anybody. Kennesaw State, nothing. Kent State. Kentucky's off. Liberty, nothing. Well, to September 6th, Berger, but I don't think he's not their starter. Will Howard, the starting quarterback of Lou Lafayette, is out, which we know about. Louisville, LSU, Bobby's out. Maryland, nothing. Memphis, nothing. Miami, nothing. Michigan, 82 questionable, undisclosed. Michigan State, nobody's injured. Minnesota, no August injuries. Ole Miss, nothing. Missouri, 2 guards out. And backup quarterback Horn's out and the kicker's out. He's been out since September 2nd. I assume they replaced him. So you're missing two guards today for Old Missouri. Norris is not out. He's playing. Let's see. Big Nebraska. August injuries we don't care about. We don't care about them because they've already played without them, and you see the results. So you're okay. They're okay. North Carolina, nothing. North Texas, nothing. Northwestern, nothing. Notre Dame. We got some August injuries we don't care about. Ohio State's not playing. Oklahoma. Two offensive guards are out, and a cornerback, and a wide receiver, and a cornerback, and an offensive guard. So they got three guards out, two cornerbacks out, and a wide receiver. And this is all dated September 16th and 17th. So Oklahoma's going to have trouble moving. So we're beginning to like Auburn even more. Oak State, they're terrible. Oregon is healthy. Back to Oregon. Yeah, some August injuries. Oregon State, they're pathetic. Penn State not playing. How do you not play? Or what are you playing, another high school team? Pitt, nothing. They're not playing. Big Purdue is very healthy for this Notre Dame game. The key is their quarterback. Can he read a safety? He threw two interceptions in the end zone right to the safety. It was like, dude, don't you know you got to look off the safety? Rice, nothing. They won the other day. Rutgers, no, we don't care. Sam Houston, nothing. Let's see. SMU, they're pretty healthy. Tyler Van Dyke is transferred there. He's still out with the knee, but we know that. They're not relying on him. South Alabama has 5 out. Wide receiver, guard, tight end, safety. So it's pretty much spread. South Carolina, it doesn't even list Sellers here, but I saw him on. I went to Google and Googled him, and he's cleared to play, which is probably why he's not on the injured report. Stanford, a guard out. Damn, I keep doing that. I hit the screen and it scrolls it back, which I don't want to do. All right, Stanford, offensive guard out. A lot of probables, safety out. I don't care about the probables. 2 tight ends out, wide receiver out, 3 offensive guards out. Jesus, more. There's like 20 guys out for Stanford. All right. Enough said. All their guards are out. Who's this? This is Syracuse. 2 guards out. A lot of guards out. Wide receiver, D-line. 2 kickers are out. Running back, cornerback, linebacker. This is all September 18th. 3 wide receivers. So Syracuse is in big fucking trouble, as is Clemson today. TCU, very healthy. Temple, very healthy. Nobody gets hurt at Temple. You come to play and you don't get hurt. Texas, running back Wisner's out. The other running back Baxter's out, but they don't play anybody. A&M's off. Texas State's off. Texas Tech, we've got with Utah. D lineman out. Another D lineman out. And a guard, another guard, and cornerback. So they're in big trouble. Texas Tech. Well, who knows? Again, are these the 5th string guards? I should Google that. How many guards are on college football teams? 20? I've never seen so many offensive guard injuries. We literally got 4 offensive guards injured. It's crazy. Tulane's good. Tulsa's fine. UAB is fine. UCLA, it doesn't matter. They suck. UConn, the running back's out with the collarbone. UMass, they're the worst team in college football. Vegas is healthy. USC, cornerback's out, and that's it. Utah, okay. 2 safeties are out. A D lineman is out. An offensive guard, of course, is out, and a wide receiver. Again, 2 safeties. Probably one of them's at least a nickel package guy. Utah State, bunch of questionables. UTEP, who cares? UTSA, they're fine. Vandy's fine. Virginia, they got a lot of injuries. Wide receiver out, 2 offensive guards, safety, 2 defensive linemen, another guard, running back, wide receiver, backup quarterback, cornerback, and that's it. 2 guards they lost in August, so they're out. They're out 2 guards. Oh, there is a guard probable, so I don't know how to read it. Where all these guards are out. VTech, they're fine. Wake, fine. Washington, wide receivers out with the collarbone, and that's it. That's pretty good. West Virginia, tight end out, wide receiver out, a guard out. What is with the guards? I've never seen. I'm looking at the position. I've never seen so many injuries to the guards where they're out. Western Michigan, nothing. Wisconsin, nothing. Wyoming, a running back that we wouldn't know who the hell he was anyway. So that is your injuries. Let's see. Okay. So that's pretty much college. Free pick, Michigan, Nebraska under. I still like that one. I have about 10 picks going today. And I think I'm going to add one. I think I'm going to add this one. This is my 6th sense picking this game. All right, I'm going to add a pick. So hold on a sec. They're not noon games. They're later than that. All right, I just added one. All right. NFL. Any other college questions before it starts at noon? Again, your free picks: Michigan, Nebraska under, and the Dallas Cowboys as the dog, which should have been bet by Tuesday. It's not like Caleb's getting any better, and I think they quit. They got killed by the Lions. Dallas can throw the ball. The Bears can't, and it's as simple as that. NFL injuries. Daniels is out. Well, let's go through the games. Miami Buffalo 31-21. Indy Tennessee is Daniel Jones against Cam Ward, two high school quarterbacks. Atlanta Carolina Penix against Steve Young. Oakland, we got Geno Smith against Mariota. Daniels is out. They say it's a knee. I thought it was a foot, but okay. So he's got a sprained knee, but he'll probably play next week. Green Bay, Cleveland, Love against Flacco. Cincinnati, Minnesota. We got Browning against Carson Wentz. Browning, I did a little research on him. He is from Washington, where he sucked. And I didn't see him in my poll, which I was surprised. I thought I would have seen him 2 years ago, but maybe he wasn't on Cincinnati. I don't know. So he looked okay last year, looked okay last week. Carson Wentz, we know, sucks, so he'll want to run because I'm a quarterback. I'm not supposed to throw. LA Philly, Stafford against Hurts. Pitt and New England, Rodgers against May. The Jets, Fields is out, so it's Tyrod Taylor against the Baker. Houston, Jacksonville, Stroud against Lawrence. Denver against San Diego, Knicks against Herbert. New Orleans, Seattle, Rattler against Darnold. Dallas, Chicago, Dak against Caleb. Arizona, the Niners, Murray against, I think, Mac Jones, although it could be Purdy, although I don't see much difference. Jones had a pretty good game last time. KC, the Giants, Mahomes against Russell Wilson, which should be a pretty good game, but we'll see. And then Detroit, Golf against Lamar. So huge edge for Lamar there. Detroit won't be able to stop them. They don't know how to play that. And with Henry, look out. And their defense sucks anyway. Teams 0-2 are Houston and Kansas City, which they must win. So look for maximum. We don't know that they're going to win, but we know that they don't want to go to 0-3. And they're both playing teams they should easily beat. Houston's playing, Indy? No, Houston's playing Jacksonville. Yeah, so Houston's a dog to Jacksonville. KC's a favorite to the Giants. So that's what we know. So at this point, that's the injuries we have. We'll save the rest for tomorrow because we're focusing on college. So let's look at the Z teams. Charlotte was the Z team, lost 28-17 to Rice. Rice covers. Tulsa beats Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State's the Z team, as I told you, and Tulsa is a 10-point dog, wins the game straight out. Z teams today. Vegas plays Miami of Ohio, laying 3. We've got Oregon State, a Z team to Oregon, but you got to lay 35, or in our world, 29. You got Kent against Florida State. Kent's kind of they're like a W team. They score a little bit more. The difference between a Z and a W, the Z gets like 15 points a game. The W gets like 22, 23. So they can score more, but their defense still is a 38 defense. So they're a Z team there. We'll call them. Or Kent, 37 defense. Western Michigan, Toledo. Western Michigan's a Z team, 31 defense. Toledo beat my Western Kentucky team. Ball State and UConn. Ball State's a Z team. UConn, an over team. You're laying 21 here. Arkansas State, 4.5 over Canisius State, who's a W team. Coastal Carolina, a Z team against South Alabama, an over team. They were laying 15. Nevada, a W team against Western Kentucky, which fell to 8.5. That smells like it's very doable now that you're under 3 with Western Kentucky and explosive. They're the team that got the Abilene Christian quarterback, and he's pretty good. Nevada's pretty bad. Marshall, an under team against Middle Tennessee. Yeah, Middle Tennessee beat Nevada. That's what it is. Middle Tennessee beat Nevada. They're a home dog to Marshall, who's an under team. They have a 24 defense, but I don't even buy that. But Middle Tennessee's a W team, so they're a home dog. But we try to avoid betting the Z and the W's. Stanford, Virginia, an A team laying 15.5 to Stanford, who's a W. Washington State. Washington State's a W. Washington's laying 19. Georgia State, Vandy. Georgia State's a Z team. Our Vandy's an A team. Sam Houston's a Z team to Texas, although Texas doesn't have any offense or no quarterback. And you're laying 40 there, 39. And Lou Monroe, a Z to UTEP. But UTEP's, they're an under team, but Lou Monroe is terrible at 36 defense. So if you're looking for teams to bet against, those are your Z teams. Those are teams that give up a lot of points and, they don't score a lot. Now, who have they played? If they played really explosive teams, they play UTSA or Texas State, you would expect them to give up 40, 50 points. That's why you got to read who they lost to. If they played Oklahoma, somebody played them last week and lost. I think Temple lost 45-3 to Oklahoma. You've got to read that. Oh, okay. They get their defense. Maybe it's bad against an Oklahoma, but if they play a team in conference, their defense is better. That's why it's important to know who do they beat or lose to really get to the meat of their plays. You got Miami, Florida against Florida. We've got Texas Tech, Utah, which should be a very good game. We've got South Carolina, Missouri without Sellers. We'll keep an eye on that. I think that's a 3:30 game. Oregon State. We've got Auburn, Oklahoma. That's a very good game. Tulane and Ole Miss. Tulane could upset them today with their very strong team, a 20 defense and an A team. Ole Miss, we don't know. We'll find out more about Ole Miss here, but we'll see. Michigan, Nebraska, that's your under game. 2 strong defenses and not much in the means of offense. Purdue, Notre Dame, it's revenge for Purdue, and Notre Dame's 0-2. They have to win. Georgia Tech, Temple. Well, that's not a very good game, but we'll see what Temple's made out of. Kansas, West Virginia, good game. Illinois, Indiana, very good game. Arizona State and Baylor, very good game. Washington State, a rivalry game, not a very good game. And that's it. So there's not a whole lot of real powerful games. I'd say Auburn and Oklahoma, Illinois, Indiana are your top ones. Keep that in mind. Miami, Florida. Miami should should beat Florida pretty good, judging by what they did against LSU. They didn't score. Miami seems to be a more of an explosive team. I got to watch more of their highlights. Carson Beck looks good from Georgia. I don't know how he got away from Georgia. Georgia's quarterback's okay. He wants to run a little too much, and they need Georgia's. I think they got a running back, but that's been their problem. They don't have the running back, and that's what's critical. Otherwise, I got 10, 11 plays picked. I just want to put in the ones I just added. So I basically have 5, 10, 15, 20. I basically have 23 games, and then I weed them down going, I don't like this. I like that. I like this better than that. So I can like a lot of games, but at the end of the day, I like Team A better than Team B. I like Michigan, Nebraska under better than I like some other games. Some games we waited for the injuries. We'll keep an eye on the Missouri. I mean, if Missouri goes down under 9, I'll bet it. I like Missouri. Let's see what we got there. Oh wait, it's a later game. They moved. Hey, when they do that, they got the game listed at night, and then they switch it. Yeah, oh no, this is the 7 p.m. Oh, so it was originally a noon game. Now it's a 7 p.m. And the line's back to 10. There's a 9.5, a couple of 9.5. Okay. Yeah, so Missouri's a night game. They ran out of good night games. All right, so that's what you're looking for motivation. You're looking for teams like Notre Dame with 2 losses. Who's coming off of a loss? Good question. Florida's coming off 2 losses in a row. Clemson's coming off of a loss to my Georgia Tech. South Carolina got killed by my Vanderbilt. See, notice what we're doing. We're not betting the Ohio State, Texas. We're making money on Vanderbilt, Virginia, Missouri. We're going after the hot team, but it's not the media darling Ohio State and this Arch Manning bullshit. There's at least 10 quarterbacks better than Arch Manning. I'll give you the A&M quarterback, the Utah quarterback, the Missouri quarterback, Daggio, Virginia's quarterback, Morris, all better than him by a mile. I'm just going randomly. So how can he be the first pick in the draft, and how can he possibly win the Heisman Trophy when there's 10 quarterbacks better than him? I don't understand. So it's just really skewy. Oh, he's got the name Manning. I don't give a fuck. We're here to make money. We're here to win bets. We're not here to go, oh, isn't Arch Manning cute? He sucks, but he's cute. Oh, God, you could throw up. Let's see who else is off of a loss that is meaningful. Should be a really good game, this Auburn-Oklahoma game. Michigan, Nebraska. See, now you saw what happened. Michigan lost to Oklahoma off of a loss. They come home against Central Michigan, who's a Z team, and they beat them 73-3. Now people think, oh, Michigan's good again. No, they played a Z team off of a loss. Now they get to go to Nebraska and play a real team with a real defense. So, but you saw what Michigan did after the loss. They were upset. Purdue played SC really well, but again, in a revenge game, but they get Notre Dame with 2 losses. Let's see. Kansas, I believe, is off of the loss to Missouri. I believe that's where they are. Um, we will see. Baylor might be off of a loss. Arizona State won. Washington, Vandy, Texas. That's really it. SC won. They beat Purdue last week. So that's what you have. It's the extra motivation. You know they're going to play well. That's what you're looking for. They're going to play well. The biggest other question is the matchups. Do they match up well? So if we look at Missouri, South Carolina, what's the matchup of the game? Missouri, obviously, to light up Kansas the way they did, they obviously have an offense. So then you have South Carolina with Sellers, but he looked like shit against Vanderbilt. Before he got knocked out, they weren't doing anything. So again, he scares you because he's kind of a running quarterback, and will Missouri figure it out? So you look at Missouri against other running quarterbacks like Kansas. Daniels runs, and they beat the shit out of him. Well, they were down late, and they scored a touchdown to take the lead, and then they scored a late touchdown on a 75-yard run when they're just trying to run out the clock. So they didn't really kill Kansas. So Kansas is a little better than you think. They're laying 13 to West Virginia. I don't know, West Virginia lost to Ohio and then beat Pitt, who's a pretty good team. So a lot of things you're trying to figure out. And that's really what we're trying to do now is figure it out. And then you're trying to make sure the Z team's really a Z team, right? Stats wise, they are, but who did they play? And then who did the A team play? Oh, yeah, they played a high school team. So that's the other thing you're trying to figure out. All right, let's go to economics. I've been watching these Vegas dying, and I put a post in about my header. So we showed Mark McGuire yesterday. We know that France is bankrupt, UK's bankrupt, Germany's bankrupt, Italy's bankrupt, and most of the West, they're all bankrupt because the system they run, it's like they're running quarterback and they wonder why they can't win. So then I was watching this one, Vegas. Nobody can afford to eat in Vegas. And they're showing that. Now, we can watch a little of the video maybe in a minute. Here's the summary. Okay, we understand Austrian economics. We understand Say's law, which means I want to buy a hamburger. I'm going to pay X for it, right? It's got to be a fair trade to me. I went to the Coney. It was a $7 half pounder. I bought it. At Culver's, it's a $7 quarter pounder. I said, wait a minute. I'm not getting value for my, I like Culver's, but I had the chicken sandwich at Culver's. It was terrible. So you can't get that. And then, so you get the hamburger. The chili's okay, but they come in these small bowls. They're very, like I saw the salad, they want $3 and it's this tiny bowl. And you're like, really? The coleslaws, so it's a ripoff restaurant, Culver's. Even the ice cream, it's you get a medium, and it's like $5. And you're like, I can get a half gallon at the grocery store for $3. So you start looking at fair value. And that's what we want. We want fair value for our inflated monopoly money. Even though it's monopoly, we still don't want to give $10 if we should give $5. So we go back to Say's law, which is we make money and then we spend it. And when we spend it, we want to get fair value for it. So if we think something's worth 10, we'll pay 10. If we think it's worth 10 and they want to charge us 20, we're not going to pay it. Okay, so that's the scenario. That's what Say's law is all about. That's what Austrian Adam Smith economics is about. Meeting the customer at a fair price. So if he's here and you charge here, he's not going to buy it. So you better be where he's at. How does this correlate to Vegas? Whoever's running this has got their head so far up their ass, they don't know what the hell they're doing. So all of a sudden there's this new model, and it's at Disney too, and I showed you that, where they want to charge you more because they think that you'll go to Disney no matter what the price is. No matter if it costs $1,000 to get in, you'll pay it. They're out of their minds. No, they won't. You won't pay that. There's a spot where you get fair value and a spot you don't. And you can only get fair value a ticket to Disney. They're doing the same model in Vegas. We're going to make the food expensive, the parking, the resort fees. We're going to make them and people will pay. No, that's not economics. That's not how people work. Adam Smith observed people. That's why Austrian economics or classical economics is so valuable and so accurate, because his view of people was, you can't fuck them all. You can't, there's a price point that they'll pay, and then there's a price point that they won't. And so you got to understand by observation, they'll pay their point. Maybe sometimes it's cheaper and they go, oh, this is great. But generally there's a price point, and that's what you charge them. And if you go over the price point, they're going to walk away. They're going to substitute. We won't go to Vegas. We'll go somewhere else. We won't eat at this restaurant. We'll eat somewhere else. But the whole Vegas is so screwed up by these Vanguards and BlackRocks and Blackstones who think they clearly don't understand economics. They clearly think that's why the housing market is so expensive, because BlackRock is buying all these houses, or Blackstone or whoever, and these other, and in Vegas and in Disney, they're trying to jack the prices up, unknowing what the market is, just assuming it's an unlimited market. Oh, we can, well, oh, you want to get into Disney? It's $5,000. Like, people will pay it. Well, you'll pay it because no, you're not. You won't go there. You go to Universal Studio. You go to the ocean. I mean, you don't need to go there. And that's where they think that you don't have a choice, that you're going to go there no matter what the price. I don't know where these morons are coming up with this. It does not work. It cannot work, and it will not work, and it will not stay. People will not. You can fool them once in Vegas because, like I say, there's such a big turnover. People coming from Asia, from Europe, from America, coming to Vegas. And so you have such a vast turnover that you get them one time. And that's what they're doing. Oh, I didn't know there was resort fees, because you know what? In France, there's no resort fee. In Europe, there's no. In Asia, there's no resort fees. So what the fuck is this in Vegas? So you get them the one time. They're there, okay, and you've got them. But guess what? They don't come back. The number one thing you need is repeat business. If you don't have repeat business, how many one-timers are you going to get? Right. So if Kroger's doesn't get repeat business and they get people in the door once and then they don't come back, they won't be in business long. And that's what's happening here. You have these people dictating, raising rent. Like Vegas, for some reason, they all sold to Vanguard and BlackRock the land and the hotel, and they're renting it. Who the fuck does that? What do you own your house? Why would you then sell it to somebody and start renting it? Why would you want to pay rent on the house you own? You own it, so you don't have to pay rent. I don't know what they're doing. Why is Caesars paying rent to their, Four Caesars Palace when you owned it. You have an asset. Now you don't have the asset anymore. Now it's a liability, which means an asset has a value, right? The land and the hotel and the swimming pool have a value. And now you're renting it, that you don't have that value anymore. You don't, like your house. Your house is worth 400 grand. That's an asset. If you're renting, like I'm renting the apartment, I don't have an asset. I'm just paying an expense. So why would you want to get out of your asset unless you think the asset's going down? But that's not what's happening in Vegas. So they've raised all these costs above what people. First of all, they call it free parking. Well, if I go to Kroger's, yeah, I just park and go in. There's a thing I have with Sam's Club. I don't go to Sam's Club because they want to charge me to shop there. I tell them to fuck off. I can go to Walmart. I can go to Kroger's. I can go, Meijer's, and shop. I can go to Aldi. I don't need to pay to shop at Sam's Club. So when we went to Vegas for the last 50 years, first of all, you're not going to pay for parking, and you're not going to pay resort fees. You're not going to pay all this. It's included in the room price. What's a resort fee? How much do you want for the room at the hotel? $75 because it's a Tuesday. Okay. Well, it's really not 75. It's going to be 75 plus a resort fee of another 50. So it's really 125. Well, then just fucking say it's 125, and I won't stay there. So why do you have to double charge for the room? Charge what it is. How much do you want for the room? 75 or 125? How much do you want for it? It's a Tuesday. There's nobody there. Well, we'll charge resort fees. We'll try to get more. Well, from whom? Nobody. There's no demand for 125. We're at $75 because it's a Tuesday in Vegas, and I choose to go during the week when there's less traffic. So I go on a Tuesday. I'm going to pay $50, $60 for the room. Well, we're going to charge you 125. Well, there's nobody home. Nobody was going to pay 125. Well, the convention people will. How many people are in the convention at the Tuscany? Nobody. Your gambling's too high. Nobody wants to pay that much for gambling. Your food's too expensive. And the whole thing is you're coming up with parking. Where's that? Nobody. When you park your car, it's because you're a guest at the hotel, or you're going to Kroger's. You don't pay for parking to go to Kroger's because they make the money on you shopping at Kroger's. How old Vegas used to work is they'd make their money. They'd give you cheap food and hotel to make the money on you gambling because they know you're going to lose gambling. Now it's reversed. They want to make the money on parking. So people will look for a place to park where it doesn't cost anything, even if they have to walk a mile, or people will Uber now. It's much better to taxi or Uber to get to the home. But even that's getting expensive because the Ubers are realizing I can charge more because people are using this to not park. But usually the people parking in Vegas are the people driving in from LA and San Diego, not coming from Detroit. We're not renting a car. I did once when I went into golf. So I did golf there and I rented a car. But it was no big deal. I'm not paying for it. I don't want to pay for parking because it's not a normal thing. Most businesses don't charge you. You go to Target, you're going to pay for parking there? Just let them try. They'll have nobody in the store. There you have competition. You go somewhere else. So I think it's a big joke what they're doing. It won't work, and it'll bankrupt Vegas because you're over market, right? You're trying to double. Yeah, you're coming to Caesars. Well, wait, we're going to make you pay for parking. Wait a minute. No. I'm paying $75 a night on a Tuesday to stay at Caesars. That's it. Oh, resort fees, parking, drinks are more expensive, food's more. No. I'm paying this. This is what I want to pay. And if you're going to charge me this, I'm not going to go. It's the same as the $50 ribs that I keep telling you about. I'll pay $30 for a slab. You make it 50. I'm not going to shop there. I'll pay so much for Caesars or the Venetian or whatever. You want to charge me this much? I won't go there. And they are clueless to this basic economic premise that people will pay what they consider a fair trade. And people do not consider this a fair trade. So what are they doing? They're trying to come up with new economics that certainly doesn't work. So your economics is, well, we're going to charge you more. Well, it doesn't work. I'm only agreeing to pay this. You can't charge me this. So nobody will go to Vegas, and Vegas will go bankrupt. Well, we'll get the high rollers. Oh, so you want to switch what you're doing and go totally dissolve your market, which is here, and kind of raise prices and try to create a new market up here. We'll just get the whales or the Silicon Valley people. Well, I got news for you. They're in here. There's one market. This is what people want to pay. And the whales like that it's cheap. And everybody like $2.99 shrimp cocktail or steaks for $5, buffets for 10. Everybody liked that. Even if you're a millionaire, you still liked it. So it didn't matter. Bobby Bo. Hey, Bobby Bo. Yeah, we're talking economics right now. I already talked football. Eating like one whole egg with egg whites. You can eat the whole egg, Bobby. The yellow is the best part because that's the protein. Turkey spam. Why are you eating spam? No, I'm not. I'm never going to try spam. Why are you having spam and not regular turkey, Bobby? You okay? Or is that paycheck you got that's worthless catching up with you? Why aren't you eating regular turkey or regular hamburger? Egg whites. No. I'm about to have my avocado and make my eggs and have my pita bread, my cooked pita bread. So I'm going to play some of this and you can see it, but you cannot tell the public the market. In other words, if the market, if you want to pay, if the public will pay $50 for this, because this is 12 years old from 1997. So if the public will pay $50 for it, and you say, you know what, I'm going to put it on the shelf for 500. Who do you think's going to buy it? It doesn't work that way. You cannot raise your prices and think people will buy it. Well, we'll just sell to the whales. Well, how about everybody else in the marketplace? Well, if you want to do that, you go create a new city called Las Vegas Whales and see how many whales actually go there. And what are you going to do with Disney? It's a family-oriented city. You want to start charging $150 a ticket. And I love how, well, if it's a holiday, it's more. I remember I went with Carmen and it was Memorial weekend, and we went to Disney and they said, well, it's a holiday. And I said, this should be $50, $60 to get in. And that was the Saturday Memorial. And then the Monday Memorial, we went to Universal Studios, and that was also another $150. Then they're talking about, well, you can jump lines with the passes, and that's another $100. And they're like, fuck you, keep your money. We won't be back. I mean, it's crazy. I had a good steak last night. There you go. 2 fillets, medium rare. No, I'm not getting General Chow. I don't. I did a 4-day fast. I did a 92-hour fast a couple weeks ago, and I ended up getting General Chow. But I bought it on Saturday, but I didn't eat it till Monday. I didn't like it. It was kind of bready. It was like what do you call it? It had breading on it, but a lot of breading. So I'm eating, and I'm not even eating chicken. I'm just eating the breading. They fried it, I guess. They're not supposed to. So it was fried, but no chicken. So I'm like, nah, fuck it. I'm not getting the General. Well, apparently they're going cheap and they're buying prepackaged chicken from what I can fathom instead of chicken and then they cook it in the wok. They're not doing that now. They are with a few of their dishes, but General Chow, the sauce was sweet and sour sauce. It was sugary, so I don't want to eat that anymore. And then the chicken itself, a lot of it is breaded and there's no chicken and there's nobody home. So I'm not eating that. Anyway, so back to the thing with any market, you can see it happening in sports where it's now three, four, $500 for a ticket to go to a Lions game or a Steelers game. Luke tells me it's three, $400 to go to the Steelers game. So Vanguard or BlackRock or Blackstone, whoever's running these things, are morons who do not understand business. They're looking at the short-term profit. We can charge more and they'll pay it. Not consistently, and you will not have repeat business. I mean, the Tigers, when they moved from Tiger Stadium to Comerica Park, I've been to Comerica Park once because I got a ticket. I didn't pay for the ticket. I mean, it went from like $8 to take the kids to sit in the box seats, third base side or first base side. And now it's, I don't know, $40, $50 for a seat. I'm like, fuck that. I'm not paying that for baseball. You got to be kidding me, because it's every day. Football is different. It's once a week. And I could see paying $50 for the Lions, and not $300 or $400. You got to be kidding. You take a family of four, it's $1,600, and that's before food, which is a ripoff, and parking, which is if I go, I park at the MGM. I show up my car and I park at MGM, then I go play poker after. So they're coming up with, let's see how much we can charge, and we all know it pisses people off. Plus, we all know people will not come back. If I overcharge you, you're not coming back to me, right? You can't piss the customer off. Where's that in Austrian economics? Let's see, we're going to piss the customer off by overcharging them and not giving him value. It's all about giving him fair value. And you're not doing that at Caesars, at Vegas, at the ball games, at Disneyland. $150 to walk in the door. That's not value. No, and then everything's very expensive. Food's very expensive, souvenirs. Vegas, the food's very expensive. This hidden resort fee, and there's other fees. So I'm going to show you this video. Now the restaurants are charging this hidden fees. Now you order a $10 or $20 hamburger, and then there's a resort fee, there's a value fee, there's for the chef, there's you're helping out with rent. Well, no, that's you're charging me that on the hamburgers. That's what the $20 of the hamburger is supposed to pay all that. Hello, McFly, is anybody home? I don't think so. Is that when they had Cecil Fielder? When I went, I took my kids and I have autographs of Frank Thomas. So my kids were young. So it was probably, Ashley was born in 1993. She was probably 5 or 6. So it was probably 99, 2000. And Frank Thomas was on the White Sox. And we were sitting behind the first base dugout between first base and home. We're about 15 rows up, and Frank Thomas came out, and I had brought 2 Frank Thomas cards with me, just score bullshit cards, and he signed them both. So he gave me 2 autographs, and I thanked him. I said, very nice guy. You probably know Frank, I would imagine. And he signed the 2 autographs for us. And it was Beanie Baby Day, so we got beanies that had some value to it. And that's it. So it was back then, but that was still Tiger Stadium before they moved to Comerica. Now I doubt you can do anything. And we used to, sometimes you'd sit in right field, right in the lower deck, and then you'd walk around to third base and you'd go down to the 5th row and you'd watch the game from there. And in the 5th, 6th inning, you'd go down and get a view of the game. Well, they probably don't allow it. Oh, you don't have the ticket, you can't come down. And if you needed to, you'd give the guy like $10, and he'd be like, yeah, you can sit down there. Yeah, Frank was very good. He was a great hitter, and he went to Auburn, not Alabama, so that was good for him. Yeah, he was very nice to me and the kids. I thanked him because you could see he was genuine, and I gave him like as it was a scorecard. It was a $2 card, but I didn't want to give him a good card. I had his Leaf rookie, but I didn't want to give him that card. It ruins it if you autograph a real nice card. It ruins the value of the card. Then it becomes the value of the autograph, but you want the value of the card's worth a lot more because it's real. So like your rookie card, Bobby, I wouldn't give that to you to sign. It would ruin the value of it. I would give you another Topps card that's not valuable, a third or fourth year card for you to autograph. Anyway, so let's play this, and we'll really get into this. Vegas is dying. 75% of our emotions are triggered by scent. That's what makes candles. Imagine this. You sit down at a diner. But what the thing is with Vegas, it's happening like I said, football games, concerts, it's all this stuff that they think you're going to go to anyway and you'll pay. So what they're thinking is that, this is really higher, is what they're saying. So you're supposed to charge this, but in Vegas, they think they have you because you're on a vacation. So they're ignoring this and they're charging this, thinking you're going to pay that. What a bunch of idiots. These are idiots, all right? You piss people off, they don't come back because they're not getting a fair value. If you charge me a resort fee and a hotel fee, I go up north, I went up to Lake Michigan, it was like $100 for the hotel. That was it. I paid $100 plus some crazy tax, but it was tax, not a resort fee. And the food was reasonable price, but I didn't like it. I went to Culver's, or I went to this other restaurant. It was not, if they charged me this resort fee, I wouldn't go back to them. And if all the hotels, I would go to somewhere else on the lake. Again, I'm feeling I'm getting fair value. They got a pool, they got a hot tub, they got a beach. It's close to the Gulf. Okay, it's a fair value, and I don't get these stupid resort fees. And so that's okay. They're giving their value, and there's a bunch of competition. So if they don't all do it. So in Vegas, because it's all MGM and it's all Caesars Entertainment, they own most of the casinos. So it's almost it's not a monopoly, it's an oligopoly. An oligopoly is what the oil people do in the Middle East. There's like 5-6 countries running as a monopoly. So that's called an oligopoly. A monopoly is just one. So the federal government's a monopoly. The Federal Reserve printing money is a monopoly. Monopolies are bad news. So that's what Vegas is doing. They think that they have you and you're there and you'll pay whatever. And they're not thinking, but then you won't come back. They're missing that point. I can go downtown and gamble at MGM if I want to. So I don't need to do that. So let's watch this and I'll stop with education.
On the Las Vegas Strip, bright lights outside, neon glowing through the windows. You open the menu. A burger? $26. A side salad? $18. A cocktail? $22. You glance at the fine print. Automatic service charge 20%. Kitchen appreciation fee 5%. Your $60 dinner just became $95. You haven't ordered dessert. You haven't even tipped. Families look at the bill and push the receipt away. Tourists whisper, "This is the last time." And locals? They're skipping the strip altogether. In 2025, dining in Vegas isn't indulgence anymore. It's exhaustion. Today, We're counting down 9 reasons why eating in Las Vegas has become unaffordable, and why number 2 may explain why even locals are walking away. Number 9. The menu sticker shock. Las Vegas used to sell indulgence, all-you-can-eat buffets, prime rib specials for $9.99, shrimp cocktails for $1. It was part of the magic. You came for the lights and stayed for the meals you couldn't believe were real. But in 2025, that magic is gone. Open a menu on the Strip today, and the prices hit harder than the neon. A burger and fries? $26. A Caesar salad? De la pan balas. A single cocktail? $22 before tax and fees. At celebrity chef restaurants, entrée regularly climb past 50, even for dishes once considered simple.
What fucking
Industry
language are they
data
using?
backs it up. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, restaurant prices in Las Vegas have jumped 35% since 2019, outpacing the national average by nearly 10%. And this isn't just fine dining. It's across the board. Casual sit-down spots now charge $16, $20 for basic sandwiches. Chain restaurants tack on strip premiums. Even food courts in hotel basements advertise value meals at $15 or more. Tourists expect to pay more in Vegas, but not this much
No, they
more.
don't.
A family of 4 can easily spend $200 on a single lunch. Multiply that by a 3-day trip, and food alone rivals the cost of airfare. Reviews online echo the frustration. TripAdvisor threads filled with shock. Yelp.
Okay, so back to my title. They're trying to get a different market, but they don't have the different market. What do I mean by that? It's like the electric cars. Nobody wants one. Nobody's got demand for it. Say's Law says, I want golf clubs, you go make them. I want tennis rackets, you go make it. I want a baseball mitt and a bat, you make it. I demand, you make. That's Say's Law, that's Austrian economics. But that's not what's happening. You're making lacrosse. I don't give a shit about lacrosse or soccer. I don't give a shit about that. And you want me to buy an electric car? I don't want it. I have a Camry, thank you very much, and it's gas, and I can fill it up and drive up north and not worry about finding a charging station or how much that's going to cost me, because the price will go up on the charging because they're running out of electricity to do it. They're not running out of oil, but they're running out of electricity. So you have a market, right, based on what I want. I wanted a green shirt. I got it. Hopefully this is a lucky shirt for us today. So that's how Austrian economics and real economics and a real market work. And what did we just hear? How expensive things were and these extra fees. If you told me that there's a kitchen fee, you think I'm giving a tip? Not a chance. I don't, if a waitress fucks my order up and doesn't, I said, well, I want to substitute. I don't want bread. I want something else. And I'm going to substitute it. And she says, okay, substitute means I don't pay extra. Instead of A, I'm getting B. Instead of fries, I'm getting a baked potato. And there shouldn't be an increase in cost. It's a substitute. Otherwise, tell me it's going to be. So if she doesn't tell me and she says it's a substitute and I see a $2 charge on it, there's a tip. You got your tip. So what are they doing? They're not listening to the market that they have. They're trying to create an electric car market, meaning they've got this market that nobody wants. Nobody's going to pay for the chef and pay for the lights and, $26 hamburger. What's it made out of? Gold? What are you fucking kidding me? So there's no market for this, right? We go to a regular thing. It's a $10, $15 hamburger. Okay. And that's it. And I'm not paying for the chef. That's included in the $10, $15 for the hamburger. And all the other stuff is already included. That's how you come up with your price. It's all your cost. So you want me to pay $26 for a hamburger and fries. Now, I took Carmen, we're staying at the Wynn. This was 4 or 5 years ago. And she got chicken, and it was like a breast and a leg. I thought just a small one. It was like $25, and I didn't order anything. I said I'm going to CVS, and so she got it, and it was very small pieces, just fried chicken, and I blew up at the way this fucking ridiculous, and you know. I get a half chicken at the barbecue place for $14, and I get a half of a chicken with a baked potato, with coleslaw, with a thing of bread. So if Boneyard wanted to charge $50 for the ribs, they are now going after a different market. They are no longer going after the market they have, who keeps their doors open. They are going after a new market with new customers that they don't have. Vegas is doing that. Disney's doing that. Disney wants $150 to walk in the door and $100, $200 for lunch. That's not the market they have. But they don't have this other market. This other market's a fantasy to them. Vanguard, BlackRock, in Vegas, there is no market for $26 hamburgers at a regular place, $15 at the food courts. Resort fees, the parking, there is no market for that. Nobody wants to pay for parking. So to say it's $42 and people will pay, they're out of their fucking minds. There's no market that they have that says, yeah, I'm going to pay $42 for parking. You do if you go to Chicago, or Bobby can say in New York, where it's kind of in the city, and to park, you park in a parking structure or a parking lot. Like if you go to the Lions games, you're going to park in a parking lot and pay $10, $20, $30 to park there to watch the game. I would park at the MGM and walk 10 minutes and avoid paying the parking fees. But that's a little different. You understand going to that. But just to go to the restaurant, just to stay at a hotel, you're not paying parking fees. Where's this market? Explain to me this market where you're coming up with a market that says, yeah, $42 for parking's fine. Resort fees are, you're going to double dip my hotel bill. You're going to charge me a lot for the food. Where's this market? This market doesn't exist. Don't tell me whales. Whales are not stupid either. Whales, it could be Derek Jeter. He doesn't want to pay for parking. He's not going to pay resort fees. I mean, most people are common sense. Tom Brady, you think he's going to pay parking and resort fees and say, well, well, that's part of it? Maybe he might, because he's an idiot, but basically most people, even if they're Silicon Valley workers or they stumbled into $1 million on Bitcoin, are not going to pay for parking at a hotel. You drive to Target, you're not paying for parking. You start paying for parking, I don't know who this market is. It doesn't exist. It's not real. Resort fees, parking, extra for food. There is no market for that. Sorry, you want Gordon Ramsay? There's a market for Gordon Ramsay. But if you start charging me these other fees, there's no market for that. Bobby Bo. I thought you liked Brady. Well, I like betting on him. He's okay. I'm just saying I would think he's not going to pay. I think he's a non-paying for parking guy. He goes to Caesars, he's not paying the 42. I don't mind him, although I don't know him. He seems kind of goofy as an analyst. He's a good quarterback. He made us money. I don't know him personally, obviously. I thought he was okay. I liked him better than Manning, but this is something different, This is an example that he's not going to want to pay $42 for parking either. So what Vegas is trying to do is create a new market that doesn't exist. Bobby, you're going to pay $42 for parking? Are you in that club? Do you Is that okay for you to go to Caesars and pay $42 for parking, or you're going to get pissed off? No matter how much money you have, you're not $42 for parking to stay at a hotel is not in anybody's equation. So I assume you'd be pissed at 42. You have money, but you're still not going to want to pay for it. What do you think of Manning's nephew? And he sucks. I already said that. He's terrible. So tell me about your parking. You're gonna pay $42 to park at Caesars or any of these strip casinos, or does that piss you off too? I would assume you're wealthier. You're the whale they're going after, and I can't imagine that you'd be happy with paying resort fees and paying for parking and higher drink prices. It's Vegas. So Vegas has created this market, and now you're not at this market. You're trying to find a different market, right? And does this market even exist? I don't know. Everybody's bitching. Okay, so Bobby, who we'll consider a whale, professional baseball player, it's BS parking prices. So Bobby is not in this club, and he's a whale who says, "No, I'm not going to pay it." Right? So who is their audience? Who are they trying to get to pay for these parking prices? Well, we're going after the whales. Well, the whales are saying, fuck you, I'm not going to pay it. Or a $20 drink that should be $7 or $8, or this resort fee. I'm sure Bobby is pissed if he had to pay a resort fee because it's double dipping. How much do you want for the hotel? $80. Great. Okay, I'm gonna pay 80. Well, wait a minute. There's another $70 in resort fees and taxes onto that. Now you're double hitting me for the room. Fuck you. A lot of it is because on Priceline or bookings, they pay commission on the hotel room. So what they're trying to do is charge you $80 to pay the Priceline the commission, and then charge you another 70 instead of charging 150 for the room and having to pay commission to Priceline or bookings is what they're really doing. But they piss off everybody. Actually ran into the nature boy again, who was really drunk. Well, he's always really drunk. How is the nature boy? Tell him Teaserking said hello, and I say woo. Okay, so in Tampa, they're following this thing. And again, there's heavy inflation. We have gold and silver, we'll be okay, but most people don't. So here's a perfect example. Why are they raising prices in Tampa? Tampa's not Vegas. Like, you get all these visitors. Not that you don't get visitors in Tampa, but why is it very expensive? People won't go there. People have their tolerance. This is what I will pay for X. If you charge me here, I'm not going to pay for it. That's my point. If you want to be in business, you must pay, you must charge what the market demands. You cannot overcharge the market. The market dictates. You cannot, why doesn't Coke charge $20 for a 2 liter? At the grocery store, they raise their prices. They can't sell it. All I see is buy one, get one free, or buy two, get one free, or buy one, get 50% off. That's because they can't sell it. You cannot fool the market. The market controls prices and what, if you want to be in business. And Vegas will not be in business long because Vegas is trying to get a different market, just like what Tampa. You watch all these restaurants and stuff will be out of business very soon in Tampa because people aren't going to pay. You might get them once. Like I said, you might go to Disney and now it's 150. Okay, but you're not coming back. And you're telling two friends, and I'm telling 1,000 people here, and nobody's going to go because this is what they're going to pay, and this is that. They don't have the money. This is massive inflation that's going on here. The dollar is worthless. Granted, it takes more money. I don't believe that you cannot charge more because of inflation if the market says no, and that's what it is. So is that what Caesars is doing? Is Vegas trying to say, well, there's inflation, so I got to charge more? Well, fine, but I'm not going to pay it. And that's how the market wins. The market says, fuck you, I'm not paying it. And then you got to lower your prices, or you got to buy one, get one free for a 2-liter Coke, which is poison anyway. You wouldn't want to drink it. He walked into the restaurant doing the woo real loud. Well, what else does he have a vocabulary, or is it just woo? So are you like friends with him, Bobby? Does he come up and get, hey, Bobby, Bo, woo? How's Barry? That would be an interesting thing. So yeah, I don't know how he's really alive, if he apparently drinks as much as he actually says he does. I don't know how he's still alive. Your liver would fall out, and all your other organs would be dead by now. So it is crazy. But that would be cool to see Ric Flair going woo. And the whole room probably woos back at him, I would imagine. And he's probably with a hot blonde or brunette, knowing Rick. Yeah, she walked in and shook my hand. Oh, he knows Bobby Bo. There you go. Did you tell him to bet LSU next week or last week? So anyway, it's just like wrestling, right? Ric Flair's fighting Hulk Hogan, and you could charge X for the ticket. But if you wanted to then charge, and you would charge parking at those events, would be fine, but not at a hotel. You can't charge parking, or at a restaurant. You go to Culver's. You're not going to pay for parking. I'm not sure you go to Gordon Ramsay, you're going to pay for parking. So some places you can pay, but in Vegas, they're going after this market that isn't real, that does not exist. People that will pay for parking, people that will pay for resort fees, people that will pay $20 drinks. There is no market like that. So what the fuck are they doing? Vegas is gone. I mean, that's all you hear is there's nobody going. This strips. I have a friend, Scott, who is a Raider guy, and he's bought from me before. And he says, I don't go to the Strip. At first, I didn't understand it. Now I understand it. There's nothing. What are you going to do? Everything's very expensive. I wouldn't go to the Strip either. He's lived in Vegas 20 years, he said, and he doesn't go to the Strip. So what the Strip is doing is keeping everybody away. I use this on an analogy of something else where they're pushing you. Well, no, in Vegas, right? I went for the Michigan Ohio State game and was playing poker, and there was no food. It was 10 o'clock. There was no restaurants open in Vegas on a Friday night. So I ended up leaving to go to the CVS. And my point is, they're pushing me, instead of bringing me in to gamble, they're pushing me away to go eat at a CVS because they're pretty affordable. I could get a tuna sandwich and honeydew and I think a water and maybe some chips, and it was much cheaper and no resort fees and no bullshit and things like that. But to pay for the cook, for the waiters and the cooks and the thing, what are you kidding me? That's what's baked in the prices. He was drinking a double martini, then I saw him drinking vodka. When are you going to see him in the hospital? Jesus. All right, let's take a little bit more of this.
Yelp reviews warning future visitors. TikToks going viral with receipts. $100 for 2 burgers and fries. No drinks. This Clive body any find. It's not just sticker shock. It's a sense of betrayal. The city once famous for affordable indulgence has priced out the very travelers it was built on. And if the menus weren't bad enough, the real gut punch comes later, when the bill arrives with a list of fees you never saw coming. Number 8. The hidden surcharges. The menu price is only the beginning. In Las Vegas 2025, the real bill doesn't arrive until the end. You finish your meal, 2 entrees, 1 appetizer, maybe a drink. You expect $80, maybe $90. The server drops the check. You look closer. Automatic gratuity, 20%. Even if you're a party of 2, kitchen appreciation fee, 4%. Wellness surcharge, 2%. Entertainment fee, $3.99.
This strawberry lemon cake might look perfect, but after 8 hours in the kitchen, my hair does not match the aesthetic.
Charge 2%. Entertainment fee $3.99. Suddenly, your $80 dinner is $120, and you didn't choose any of it. Restaurants defend the charges. They say it supports staff wages, covers rising food costs, keeps the lights on. But to the customer, it feels like a trick.
See, that's bullshit. That's what the $80 for the two entrees and the appetizer is supposed to cover those expenses. Not let's add in the expenses. If it was me, you're not getting a tip. I ain't coming back. Nothing. And I'm going to protest paying those fees because you didn't. I'm going to pay for the fee of the appetizer and the entree. That's what I have agreed to pay. Legally, you can't surprise me with these charges. Oh, you're charging me for the kitchen help, for this and that, and the entertainment fee. I don't agree to pay those. I bought a steak for $20 and I got fries for $8. I'm going to pay $28. Fuck you on the rest, because I did not agree to those. You can't just charge somebody. If you ever go to the grocery store and there's the sticker on the shelf, right? Heinz ketchup, $2.99. You get to the register and it says $5.99. No. I take a picture and I show them the sticker. No, Heinz ketchup, $2.99. That's all I'm paying. I'm not paying $5.99. And that's what's happening here. You're not agreeing to pay for this bullshit. And what do you think the normal $20 or $30 charge for the entree is? It's to pay for the cook, to pay for all the entertainment charge and all this other charge. Fuck you. That you're just making that up. No. I'm not paying that. That's called business. You charge on your entree. You want a steak for $25. That's covering the chef. And as far as the waitress's wages, you're paying her, you're giving her $2 and she's making the money on tips, which I'm not tipping because you're giving me these bullshit charges that I did not agree to. See, I don't think that's legal. I think you don't know what to do, but I don't think it's you didn't agree to it. Why should you pay for things you don't agree to? So I have a serious question on that, but okay, you catch me once, you're not catching me. I'm never going back there. So what's their point? Well, it's Vegas and we don't expect you to come back anyway. You know, you're just coming one time and then we'll get new people from China coming and they'll pay, and new people from Brazil coming and they'll pay, but you'll never come back. Yeah, you're right. And that's probably what they're banking on. I don't know what they're banking on in Tampa, Bobby, because it's not like you're getting a lot of different people besides, you and Ric Flair and Derek Jeter and Brady. Who are you getting there that isn't going to be repeat, right? So you kill repeat business, which is the whole goal of business. I want Bobby buying my football every week. I don't want to piss him off. So, Bobby, I'm selling my football for $100. And then he buys it and then it costs him $200. Oh, well, there's a charge for my skill set. And there's a charge for my computer and there's a charge for my lights in there. Well, that's in the $100 that you're paying for the week are those costs. Not you don't charge and then double charge, which is what Vegas is doing. So you piss off people because they didn't agree to that. You buy my picks, you agree to $100. Or if you're buying college today, $75. That's what you agree to do, and that's what I better charge you. Not hidden fees. That's bullshit. And you'll never get anybody back. How they don't want repeat business, I guess they think Vegas is not repeat business. And we're going to gouge the people and they're going to pay it. No, nobody's going to pay it. They're going to tell you to fuck off. All right.
Especially when the menu already lists premium prices. One Vegas diner wrote online, "It's like being nickel and dimed in the middle of dinner. They don't just charge you for the food. They charge you for the privilege of ordering it. And it's not just high-end restaurants. Casual cafe and strip-side diners are adding similar fees. Even fast casual chains now include service recovery charges on top of standard tax. According to a 2025 consumer survey, nearly 42% of visitors to Las Vegas reported being surprised by hidden dining fees. For many, it was the last straw.
How could that not
because
be
people
100%?
can stomach high prices if they're upfront. What they won't tolerate is deception. The nickel and diming creates a new psychology. Guests leave not just poorer, but angrier. They warn others. They leave negative reviews. They swear they won't return. And the damage adds up, not just on the receipt, but on the reputation of the city itself. And
So who runs a business like this? Who doesn't want repeat business? Who doesn't want the customer happy? Let's say I'm going to run a bit. I'm going to piss off the customer. They'll never come back. Yeah, that's my business model. What the fuck's wrong with Vanguard and BlackRock and Blackstone that they think this is the way to run business? We'll charge you, we'll make up expenses, we'll charge you and you'll pay it, and that's it. What are they, out of their fucking minds? I mean, that's just insanity. So I don't know what they're talking about. I know football started, but let's just watch a little more of this.
How the fees feel sneaky. The food portions themselves tell another story. Smaller, thinner, cheaper, but never less expensive. Number 7, shrinkflation on the Strip. Vegas has always promised bigger shows, bigger jackpots, bigger plates of food. But in 2025, the plates look different. Order a burger at a strip cafe, and the bun dwarfs the patty. Order pasta at a celebrity restaurant, and it arrives in a bowl barely half full. Even buffet servings, once legendary, are cut thinner. It's called shrinkflation. Smaller portions, same price or higher. The numbers prove it. According to a 2025 hospitality industry report, average entree sizes in Las Vegas restaurants are down 18% compared to 2019. But prices are up nearly 40%. That means you're paying more for less food. Tourists are noticing. Photos on Yelp and Reddit show the difference. Before and after, images of shrimp cocktails, buffet steak cuts that look more like samples than meals, even cocktails in smaller glasses filled to the brim with ice. And the frustration isn't just about value, it's about expectations. Vegas was built on the promise of indulgence. All you can eat, pile your plate high, never-ending shrimp.
Redness and bumps? Get irritation defense for your pubic area. Venus for pubic hair and skin.
3, 2, 1, check it up, let's go!
We're sweating, huh?
Pile your plate high, never-ending shrimp, endless crab legs. Now, it feels like rationing in neon. One travel blogger wrote, Vegas used to feel generous. Now, it feels stingy. Shrinkflation.
So they're changing their market without understanding. So market A, they're trying to hit with all these extra costs. So what they're really trying to do is get market B, which doesn't exist, which doesn't mind paying more. The whales, what did they say? We're going to get the whales to pay more. The whales aren't going to pay more. Bobby Bo, do you track finances with a spreadsheet and all that? Sure. I mean, mostly I'm tracking like gold and silver and some baseball cards. So if you have 100 ounces of gold, it was 2,500. Now it's 3,000. Now it's 30. It's almost 3,700. Because if you look at your 100 ounces, it's still 100 ounces, but it's went from 2,500 to 3,700. And what they don't show you on the dollar is this is worth nothing. This is the part of the Ponzi scheme that you don't get. You still have $100 in your pocket, but there's no value of the 100. It doesn't say it's only worth $1. Gold, you can see the price. It's 3,600, 3,700. Right? So you can see your ounce of gold's 3,700. This, you don't really know what the price is because they don't post it because it's fucked. It's not worth anything. You just see a 1 on it and you go, oh, you see 100 on it. Oh, it's worth 100. No, it's not worth 100. It has no value. The 100's worth $1, but you don't see that But it's funny how you see gold and even Bitcoin, you see the price of it. So yeah, I track my inventory. I will track my expenses. When I'm working, it's paycheck and then pay your expenses. And this is how much you got left to go buy more gold and silver. By the way, I did go to the coin store yesterday. I bought 9 ounces of silver, charged me $44. So it was $396. And I happen to have 400 on me. So that worked out perfectly. So I got 9 ounces of nice silver. He had no gold. I've never seen him with no gold. He says, nobody's bringing it in. I go, why would you bring it in? Why would you sell it? So he says he can order, but he's got to order like 10 ounces or something. I don't know why he's not, but he had no gold. I've never seen him with no, in his little tray. He always has ounces and half ounces or whatever. He had none, no gold. That's a huge red flag. Gold's just about gone, and now the price is going to the moon. Silver he still had, but he had different silver. I don't have it out to show you, but so I bought 9 ounces. I'm not working, so I bought the 9, and that was nice. It was nice to buy again. He's like, where were you? And I said, well, I'm not working, so I can't buy like I used to, but that's why I bought it all 5 years ago, was to prepare. I knew what was going to happen. So buying gold at 1700, I bought shitloads of it because I knew where it was headed. I knew it was going to this price. I know it's going to 10,000. And that's the thing. Bobby Bow. Most people are just falling for all this stuff and overpaying for everything without even really paying attention, then wonder why their bank account is deteriorating. Do you budget for weekly food? Kind of. I do go to the grocery store. Like I said, if I went to Culver's and I get the double and it's $7. Well, I asked them, well, how much meat's they said a quarter pound. They were like smiling, like, we're giving you a quarter pound. And I'm like, you're charging $28 for a pound of burger that I'm getting for $6 at my grocery store. And I can make 4 burgers with mine and pay $6 for 4 burgers that you're charging me $7 for a double. So I didn't like that. I find Culver's is very small portions. The chili, if I get coleslaw or even the ice cream, the Culver's, it's not a large for $5. It's a small. So I have an idea, but I know if I go to the grocery store, when I'm there, I know, like, if a steak's $20, I don't buy it. If salmon's on sale for 10, I buy a bunch of it. If the ribeyes or the New York strips are $10, I'll buy some of that and put it in the freezer. The chicken, I buy a lot of chicken because that's a lot cheaper. Food is such a huge factor these days. Well, we got to eat. That's the problem with it. That's why these restaurants charging you all you got to pay for the staff and the grill, and you got to pay for the waitress and the cook. No, that's that's how you come up with the amount to charge me. And don't tell me about inflation, because I'll fucking cook it at home. Walk into the market to pick up 3 or 4 little things, and when I go to pay, I am $55 for. Well, that's inflation. That's inflation in a nutshell. The value, it's not the prices, it's the value of your dollar is worthless. So you have to turn it around. It's not that they're raising prices, it's that this is now worth nothing. And that's what you got to understand. This is worth nothing. That's why you buy gold and silver, because gold's now $3,700 for an ounce. That's how you win at this game. Because if you hold this, you're losing, as you're saying, $55, because this has no value. That's the key point that nobody gets. They see a 20 on it, they think it's worth $20. But then they go to the grocery store and they spend it. Or, as you're saying, well, what most people are doing, they're putting it on their credit card, and then they just pay a little bit on their, they don't care that they have the balance on the credit card. And this is where people are until they owe on their credit cards. And that's why the banks are going to go out, because people can't afford them. So they're not going to pay their credit cards or their mortgages or their car payments or these commercial real estates. And what will end up happening is the banks aren't going to get their money in. So again, the bank, you give the bank $50,000, they loan it out, and they're loan it out at 8%. And that's how they work. So they get the 8%, they give you 2% on your 50,000, they make 6%. And that's how a bank works until they don't get the 8%. When the person that borrowed the money and is paying 8% for a house or a car or credit cards or whatever, doesn't pay anymore. Now they're not getting any in. That's what happened to China when Evergrande stopped paying the real estate. They had billions of dollars in loans and they defaulted, and they said, we're going bankrupt. They didn't pay it. Now the banks did not get that money in, and then everybody's knocking at the door. I need my money. I got $1 million in there. I got 50,000 won. I need my money out, and the bank didn't have the money because they weren't getting it back from Evergrande to pay out the customers. So that's where the bank, if they don't get the loans in, the interest, then they can't pay out the little people who are got the money in getting interest. Again, that's why we have gold. We don't worry about that shit. I did ask the gold guy yesterday about 1099. He says, I don't do that because I don't believe in that. I said, okay, thank you. And then I asked him, well, what if I sell an ounce of gold? He says, if it's an eagle, I'll give you 97% a spot. If it's the maple leaf or the Cougaran, 95%. I go, that's fine. I bought it at 16, 1700. I can get 37. You take, okay, fine. Not when it is 10 grand, not a problem. So that was good news. No 1099 to worry about, nothing else. So if you do get a 1099, come here and sell it to this guy and you won't get a 1099. I love he says, I don't believe in it. That sounds good to me. I don't either. And so they won't give you spot at this point. I think eventually down the road, they might give you over spot. When gold's extremely hard to get and you have an ounce, they will pay you more. Then it's the bidding wars on the other side. So you will see that. Yes, but you go to the grocery store now and, I'm buying avocados. They're $2.29, like it's a fucking butt. I got to have avocados. So what I tend to do is when I see things on sale, buy extra. I don't care what I'm paying because I know I'm going to eat it down the road, especially chicken. I'm buying grass-fed burgers, but I don't know if they're any better or not, although my gout seems to be going. I got gout in my elbow for some reason. My feet are fine. My back's fine. I'm getting it in my elbow. It's like, what the fuck? So, yes, I went to the coin store yesterday and bought 9 ounces of silver, $44 an ounce. Do you ever eat macaroni or potato salad? No, I don't. I do have coleslaw. I make tuna. And I don't use Miracle Whip because of the high fructose corn syrup. I use Ken's Thousand Island. So I pour the Ken's Thousand Island with the tuna and then shuffle it up, and I eat that, and it tastes fine, which is probably what I'll have for lunch. I did make a bunch of chicken, so I will eat that. Also, I love putting that in omelets or salads. And this is what I don't understand. I go to Coney Island yesterday, and the salads, like I just wanted a side salad with the burger, and they don't have. It's like the cheapest one's like $5, and I'm like, fuck that. I'm not paying. So at Culver's, it's $3, but it's such a small salad. So, I say, fuck it. I go buy a lettuce for $1 and I get red and yellow peppers and I get broccoli and cauliflower and celery. And there's my salad. And I can eat 10 salads and it probably costs me, $10 for all of it. So I'm eating a salad for $1 and you want to charge me $7 or $8. That's what I notice is they're doing. Especially at Coney, they're charging more for the fry. The fries were $3 something. The salads are $6, $7. It's ridiculous. At least the burger's still, but $7 for a half pounder. But I don't know what I'm eating. I don't know if it's a real burger. And I get the chilies $4. So it's that's where they're hitting you at. They're not making the hamburgers $20. So even at Culver's, it's $7. So you could get a burger and you could get a chili and it's $11. So you're like, but again, that's still expensive. I don't know. When I watch Leave It to Beaver and they go to the movies, Ward wants his change from the dollar he gives to Beaver because it's like a quarter to go in and a quarter for M&Ms and a pop or something. And Ward wants his, so like the quarter in the 1960s is worth a lot. Now $11 for a meal and it's not worth anything. So no, I don't eat macaroni or potato salad. I eat baked potatoes once in a while. When I go to the barbecue place, I will sometimes get steak fries if I'm really, really hungry. The way I eat, I get really, really hungry because like now I haven't eaten yet. I had a coffee and a water. It's 12:30. I'm going to have a pita and an avocado and maybe cook some chicken or eat tuna with the pita bread. So I tend to get, and then I've been walking early and I go swim. And so I tend to get, like after swim, I'm really hungry. So if I do go to barbecue, I will get that. But I marked Chinese off the list because if they're going to fry their chicken, then fuck it. That's not what I want. I can go home and make my own chicken. So maybe I'll go once in a blue moon. But that's the problem with Chinese. They're trying to fry it. Now, their prices are still reasonable. The General Chow at 15 is reasonable, but it used to be 9 or 11, so it's gone up. All right. So again, what Vegas and Disney and Universal are trying to do is come up with a market that doesn't exist. They think the market they're in, it's not a problem for the parking, resort fees, extra food, extra drinks. I don't know who they think that market is. It doesn't exist because the people that the market they have is looking for cheap, no parking, no resort fees. They're not looking for any of that. And you're throwing it in hoping that they'll just pay it. And they won't. They don't want to. They'll pay it once, not multiple times. You will have nobody at the strip, which is basically what you have now. You get some people in for, my friend said there was a boxing match a week ago on a Saturday, and it was pretty full. Okay, but they're probably coming Saturday and leaving Saturday night, or maybe staying over Saturday night, although it's expensive to do. And this is how they think they're going to do it. They'll have a boxing match. How many boxing matches are you going to have? Or the Raiders games. Who the fuck's going to Vegas to go watch a Raider game? I know I got Raider fans here, but I'm not flying to Vegas every time they have a game. That's crazy. So that's what you have. So it's really bullshit. Bobby, Clemson is losing again. Well, that's not a surprise. I think Klubnik sucks. Well, he threw a lot of touchdowns last year, so they thought he was good. Him, Arch Manning, they can't complete passes. Absolutely. All right, a little bit more here.
Undermines the city's identity. Because when guests leave hungry after paying $100, they don't just question the restaurant. They question the entire Vegas experience. And when the disappointment spreads, it doesn't just hit tourist budgets. It chips away at the city's image, from excess to emptiness. But shrinkflation is only part of the problem, because in 2025, the same logic that created resort fees in hotels is creeping into restaurants too. Number 6. Resort fee logic extends to dining. Vegas hotels perfected the art of hidden charges. Now, their restaurants are following the same playbook. Sit down for dinner in 2025, and you may notice a line on your bill you didn't expect. Venue fee. Resort dining surcharge. Entertainment contribution. It's the same logic as hotel resort fees. A flat add-on that inflates the price of your meal without giving you anything new in return. At one strip steakhouse, diners reported a 5% resort charge on every check. At another, a $7 live entertainment fee, even when no band was playing. The justification? Restaurants argue it covers everything from maintaining decor to subsidizing hotel amenities. But to customers, it feels like a tax on simply sitting down.
See, what these idiots should be doing is just, you want to add $5 as a resort fee to your steak. Just make the steak $5 more and don't add it. And then people could go, well, okay, but it's a steak. Because once you start adding this $5 resort fee or entertainment fee or paying for the chef or paying for this or that, now it becomes bullshit. When I was working at my famous Hiram Walker Canadian Club, one of my colleagues' husband was opening up a restaurant in downtown Detroit. And I said to her, don't do a la carte, just add it. If you're selling a hamburger and fries, just make it one price. Do not do hamburgers and then fries are $5 more, just because people like when they think it's coming with. That's why I like the barbecue place. I get a half barbecue chicken, a really half barbecue chicken. It's $14. It comes with coleslaw and it comes with the potato. It comes with, I don't pay for it. If I want, I can substitute a salad or soup and I get garlic bread. But it comes with. That's the beauty of the restaurant. Even if you go, like I said, to Culver's or Coney Island, I get a burger. Nothing comes with. Oh, for $3.50, you can get fries with it. Well, that doesn't come with. Why doesn't it come with the fries? And so instead of doing what these idiots are doing, they should be just adding it. So the steak's $40, it's $45. And in it, wink, wink, is the cook and all these little bullshit charges. You don't want to call them out. All it does is piss people off because you don't agree to the charge and you're paying for something. That's what the $40 for the steak is, paying for the chef and the waitress, and she's working for tips. So I don't want to hear that I got to pay extra for her and for the chef, and because you're here or there. That's bullshit. That's cost of doing business that you should have, not these extra fees. Like I say, if I charge $75 for today's college, and then you get a charge for $100, well, I got a charge for me researching the games and me, my electricity bill and me, looking on Google or Yahoo to get the stats that I use to analyze everything. Or as Bobby said, my gold and silver. Well, I know I got someone. Oh, I got to research what's the price of gold. It's like charging for that. No, that's derived at the price. The price is what will the market pay, and then you determine if your costs are under that. If they're not, you shouldn't be in business. But you can't charge for the chef, and you can't charge for the wait staff, and you can't charge for the venue, and you can't charge. Just make the steak $5 more. People will pay the $5 more. They will not pay. If you call out these charges, they won't do it. So again, I don't know what the hell they're thinking. Nobody likes being fucked over, which is what you're doing by doing these incredibly stupid charges. That's the point of the $40 steak. It didn't cost you $40. Like I say, these $26 hamburgers and fries. Well, the burger doesn't cost you $26. You're paying for the staff, you're paying for the rent, you're paying for electricity. That's how you derive the $26. You can't double charge for them. This is what's pissing people off. They're not agreeing to these charges. So you're making people pay for things they're not agreeing with. And that never works. And I don't know what market you're thinking you're in that people will just pay for it. I don't care if the Wall Street whales or the Silicon Valley or the rich Asians or the rich mafia guys in Italy. They're not. You don't fuck with them. They don't want to pay for it.
And it adds up fast. A couple ordering 2 entrees and a bottle of wine can see their bill climb $40, $50 higher. Before tip, before tax. Guests are starting to compare it to budget airline pricing. One reviewer wrote, Vegas restaurants are turning into Spirit Airlines with tablecloths. Everything has a fee, except the oxygen. The practice has spread beyond luxury spots, mid-tier cafes, casual strip eateries, Even poolside grills are experimenting with venue charges. It's no longer about what you order. It's about where you are. And the psychology is corrosive because the moment diners feel tricked, they stop trusting the experience. They stop indulging. They start calculating. And that's the opposite of what Vegas once promised. But even as these new fees multiply, another long-standing Vegas tradition is collapsing. The one that defined dining in this city for decades. Number 5. Buffets are dying. For decades, the buffet was the soul of Las Vegas dining.
The digital world is coming to destroy yours.
Was the soul of Las Vegas dining. Piles of crab legs, endless shrimp cocktails, prime rib carving stations that never seemed to close. You didn't come for fine dining. You came for abundance. And for years, it was affordable. $19.99 for an all-you-can-eat spread that felt like royalty. But in 2025, the Vegas buffet is on life support. The few that remain have transformed into high-ticket events. Caesar's Bacchanal Buffet now runs $79 per person on weekdays and over $100 on weekends. Wynn's Buffet charges up to $120 during peak hours. For a family of 4, that's nearly $500 for one meal. And while the price soars, the value shrinks. Dishes rotate less often. Premium items are rationed. Lines stretch long and leave guests frustrated before they even reach the carving station. Once, buffets were Vegas's great equalizer. Everyone from penny slot players to high rollers could eat like kings. Today, they feel like another luxury reserved for the few willing to splurge. Industry data confirms the decline. According to the Nevada Restaurant Association, the number of active buffets in Las Vegas has dropped by more than 60% since 2017. Many shut down during the pandemic and never reopened. For tourists, this feels like a betrayal. The buffet wasn't just food. It was part of the Vegas identity. Without it, the city feels less generous, less accessible, less Vegas. So, where do visitors turn? Many head to quick service spots, hoping to save money. But in 2025, even fast food in Las Vegas comes with a premium. Number 4. Fast food isn't cheap anymore. Once upon a time, fast food was the fallback. Couldn't afford a steakhouse? Grab a burger. Skip the buffet? Head to McDonald's or Taco Bell. It wasn't glamorous, but it was affordable. And in Vegas, it was everywhere. Not anymore. In 2025, even fast food in Las Vegas comes with strip-level pricing. A Big Mac combo at McDonald's at the $16.89. A large pizza from a chain outlet, $28. A Starbucks venti latte? No way. These aren't exaggerations. They're the reality of trying to eat cheap in the most expensive corridor of Nevada. Why so high? Because rent on the Strip is among the steepest in the nation. Labor costs have risen. And chains know tourists will pay more because they're already trapped inside the resort bubble. Locals have noticed too. One resident told a Vegas Review Journal survey, "Fast food is supposed to be the break. Now it feels like fine dining without the tablecloth." And it's not just the Strip. Even off-strip locations in tourist-heavy zones mirror the trend. A simple burrito or sandwich easily crosses the $15 threshold. The illusion of cheap eats is gone. What used to be a safety net for travelers on a budget has become another source of sticker shock. Families who used to stretch their Vegas trip by relying on fast food now face the same dilemma as those in sit-down restaurants. Pay inflated prices or skip meals altogether. And when
Or you don't go to Vegas, you go to the lake. All right, I think we got the gist of it, and I know football is going on now, but that's the point of it. There's competition, so you don't go to Vegas. And if nobody goes to Vegas, they close down, they're broke. And their only option is to cut the bullshit that nobody wants. There is no market for what they're trying to do. Nobody wants to pay for parking and for any of this shit nobody wants. Right? Pure and simple. You don't want to pay for parking. You don't want to pay for resort fees. You just, what's the hell bill? $50? Fine. What do you mean $100? No, 50. No, resort fee. No. That's not what see. You're not agreeing to pay this extra bullshit, and they think that you're going to, and so you just simply don't go back, and then they go broke because they need money to pay the rent, as they just said. Why is rent going up? Because they don't own their hotels anymore. Rent on the strip should not be that expensive. It should just be at market rates. So again, that's Vanguard, and that's BlackRock and Blackstone and Blackstar and whatever other things you want to come up with. And it's just they're increasing the rent. So why would you sell your place to rent it? So they'll move out, and no, there'll be empty hotels and nobody to go visit them. And basically that's the end of Las Vegas, because if they don't get the customers to pay the rent, they can't pay the rent, they'll default. And Vanguard and Blackstone will go out of business because they aren't going to get their money. They're not going to get their rent. So it comes back to Wall Street and these investment bankers who are ruining everything, ruining like Disney, ruining the airplanes. I was going to travel to Vegas, and it was a joke. It was a couple $100 for the ticket, so both ways. But then, oh, you want to carry on luggage so you can have clothes and toothpaste and stuff. Well, that was going to be $55 one way on Spirit to just bring my gym bag, not even my carry-on, just my gym bag, which is going under the seat. Why am I paying for that? So I said, fuck off. And I didn't go, and that's why I drive up to the lake. I got so now I'll fly to Europe, but that'll be it. But even there's a lot of problems with delays and strikes and stuff like that. So I don't even know where to go in Europe. And when I'm there, I got to be careful because I might have to stay at the hotel an extra couple of days. As my friend Scott had problems in Toronto. He went to Toronto, and then they go on strike. And so he ends up taking a bus, and I picked him up in Detroit from the bus terminal, Greyhound. And then he flew home to Vegas, but they went on strike. He couldn't even get back from Canada to America. To Vegas. So now when he says I don't go to the strip, I didn't understand why. I said, well, I'd be at the strip. No, there's nothing, you can't eat there. And parking's so expensive, so you just ignore it. And I don't know, this is why who would go to Vegas now? There's no reason. I can go downtown to MGM and play poker. I could, I don't want to play the slots or craps or any of the gambling is ridiculous because the odds suck. And then they've raised it to $50 a hand as opposed to $5. So you're ending up where people running these investment banks have no idea what they're doing. They think we'll just charge more and that'll be the answer, and people will pay it because they're on vacation and they have no other choice. Yeah, they do have another choice. It's called not going to Vegas, which is what's happening now. And that's why it's dying. There is no market for what they're trying to do. People do not accept getting burnt, paying more for things they don't agree to. And that's what's happening. So you got Disney, $150 to walk in the park. They're dead. They're empty. Spirit Airlines wants to charge for carrying on, your carry-on. Yeah, they're Chapter 11. I don't know where this is coming from. These investment banks obviously are a bunch of fucking idiots, where they think they can hide all these charges and just dump them on you that you don't agree to, and you'll just keep paying them. They're out of their fucking minds. That's not what happens. Well, yeah, you'll just use your credit. No, we're not going to do that. Now, people like Ric Flair who have enough to buy a vodka and enough to buy a gin and, to drink. Okay, but I guarantee you Ric Flair is not going to go to Caesars and be happy paying $42 for parking or double his room for the resort fee. I don't know how rich Ric Flair is, but he ain't that rich. I've seen YouTubes where he's in a lot of debt. So, as Bobby stated, and Bobby's a whale. He ain't paying the parking. He ain't paying the resort fee. He's not paying the extra food. I think if I went to Vegas, I would be stopping at Meijer's or Walmart and buying avocados and buying food for the room and eating that without going to the restaurants and paying not only $20 hamburger, but all these other things. Or I'd be getting an Uber or a taxi and driving 5 miles out into the normal where my friend lives and eating at restaurants there that aren't charging you these resort fees and all these extra fees. Bobby watched the fight. Okay. But you didn't go to Vegas. You watched it on TV, I guess. Where did you travel to the other day, Professor? I went up to the lake, Lake Michigan. It's about a 3.5, 4 hour drive. And then there's a Meijer's there, and there's some grocery stores, and I get that for the room, and I eat. The breakfast buffet was terrible. And there's a few other restaurants to get a $15 hamburger at, like, yeah, but I don't get these other resort charges or anything else. So it's on the lake. It's a city it's a touristy city. I watched a video a couple weeks ago. You're in a hotel. No, I didn't see Daria. I was in a hotel up at the lake, so I go to this lake here. So I go here. Here's a fruit stand, which you never see. So this is the Bear Golf Course, which I chip and putt at. There's some more pictures of the golf course. And then there's your truly, this is at the golf course. This is me at the hotel. So you can see my hotel. And then this is my view. This is Lake Michigan. This is a bay that it runs into. So you get the sand and you get that. This is sunset. You can see the chairs and the lake. So there's the golf course looked nice when the sun came out. It made it nice and yellow. And then just some more water pictures. So basically, that's it. No, Daria, I've asked her for Christmas. I'm waiting her response, and I'm getting to the point where if we don't meet Christmas, then I mean, I'm here, but I'm not going to hold my breath. I'm not going to help you with rent or food anymore. It doesn't seem like you want to meet, or you're just using the war as an excuse, or whatever your excuse is. If you really wanted to be with me, then we would meet. So I don't want that. So I'm getting to the point, like, this is we can't wait for the war to end. It's not going to end. I told her to it before. She says, "Are you going to stop dating me?" And she was all sad. And I said, "No, but we need to meet. We shouldn't have to wait for the war to end to meet, because Zelensky doesn't want to end the war, and neither does the French, English, or German leaders, or Trump. They want to sell their weapons, the defense contractors, and make money that way, sort of like the hotels in Vegas want to get you for resort fees and parking. And that's why. So they want the war to keep going to sell it, because they're all broke. This is the last act of a broke country, is to have a war and try to sell weapons, because their economies are gone. Thank you, Bobby. It's a nice little, it's like I said, 3.5, 4 hours, just drive up, no airplane to worry about, no resort fees, no parking. The parking's free. Yeah, I like to golf. My back kind of prevents me from necessarily playing 18 holes, but I did take like a wedge, and I could take a full shot on the driving range, and I putted a lot. I played golf since I was like 13 years old. So I'm really good at it, but my back hurts me. Jenna, I talk to once in a while. She's really depressed over the war, because she says, "Oh, there's bombs every night." So she basically I mean, I can't imagine living in a war. I mean, here we go to sleep, okay, it's pretty quiet. We go to sleep. Imagine bombs going over your head and while you're trying to sleep, wondering if the bomb's going to hit you or wondering just the noise of the bomb scaring the shit out of you. So that's what she's got. So again, if Daria isn't either serious or just too scared to meet me or just too scared to travel, well, then I'll just meet Jenna again and just forget about Daria. I love Daria, but what can I do? I can't, being stoic, I can't force her to meet me. She's got to want to meet me. She says, I want to meet you, which I believe, but her daughter did get sick, who's starting to feel better. So that was an issue in the summer. So this is at Christmas, or I'll just meet Jenna and that's it. Although she's kind of mad at me, I can't afford both of them. I'm not working and I'm waiting for the gold to go up, and I'm not going to sell my gold at this point. I'm waiting, maybe at 10 grand I'll sell it, but not at 3,700. I can teach you golf, Bobby. It's really based on you rotate your wrist as golf. You don't break your wrist, you just rotate it. A lot of baseball players are good. Al Kaline was really a big hitter of the golf ball. A lot of hockey players, it's like a slap shot. So you don't break your wrist. You just roll the wrist is what golf is. And it's all timing. It's back, it's through, it's open your shoulder, close it, much like hitting a baseball. Yes, I remember you said she was drinking a lot, dealing with the war. Yeah, she's really depressed. She's doesn't have the inflation's really high in the Ukraine, and and so she's worried about getting a second job, and I'm not really helping her because I'm helping Daria. And if Daria says we can't meet, then I'll stop helping her, and I'll meet Jenna. What's on the menu today, Professor? Making any steaks? I don't know. I might stop at the grocery store and buy a steak. They've been getting expensive, so I've been more salmon and chicken. I have chicken made, but during the week I make a chicken omelet or I make a chicken salad. So I take like a thing of chicken and I cut it up and I put it in my omelet or I put it on my salad. And like I say, that's the way to go. I was up for a Mercedes job that's been put on hold. Like, what the fuck? I have another interview Monday, but it's with the recruiter, so I'm not counting it as anything. Until you actually interview with the company, I don't count the recruiters. And even when I interview with the company, it's not doing anything. So I might get a steak over Chinese for sure. There's a grocery store, a meat grocery store that has good meat that I stop on the way home from the club. So I'll probably take a little walk, and then I've been going swimming and biking at the club, and then I can see a steak or something. Sounds pretty good. I'll watch some football. I'll probably watch the Michigan game over some of these other ones. I don't want to watch 3 games. I get too tired. Oh, here's a video I did showing the sunset. This is from my room. I had a beachfront room at sunset. And that's the bay. So it's a pretty big bay, but it is Lake Michigan. And there you go. So it's nice and peaceful. And you sit on the chair, you watch the waves come in, and it's a real nice. This is a view from my room. You can see there's a chair. So I'm sitting in the chair. That's it. And that's where I did class. So that was my bed, and I was on a desk, so that's where I was doing class. And that's what the room looked like from the inside. So they gave me a beachfront room. This is the drive up, you can see. So this is near Traverse City. So this is the road there. Yeah, that's me talking to Daria. And that's so it's just it's a little highway. And once you get off the big highway, it's a little highway with a bunch of trees and stuff like that. So that's where I go. And then there's golf and there's all that. And there's Daria saying hello. She got mushrooms. I didn't know what this that they are actually mushrooms. These must be Russian mushrooms. So she likes mushrooms. Anyway, so that's what's going on. Bobby Bow. I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to get back to work, but I don't really want to work at a grocery store or a restaurant as a waiter or as a washer boy. Uh, versus if I can get back into finance at $45, $50 an hour, something I know easily versus these other jobs. And it would hurt my Social Security because then I'd work instead of getting Social Security. At least if I'm going to work, then I want the higher paying job, would make it worth my while. Otherwise, it's better to get Social Security. Anyway, you've been doing a routine consistently where I go for a nice walk almost daily. Yeah, I mean, that's all you need to do. And you fast and you just be careful about your sugars. Nice few professors, thank you. You study economics and football when sitting there. I'm always studying football and economics wherever I go. When I go meet the girls in Europe or when I'm there, or if I go to Vegas, I'm still always studying that because that to me isn't even studying. I don't really economics. What I do is watch a lot of YouTube. Like I see, like I showed you, what's going on in Vegas, what's going on in Disneyland, what's Trump doing, these wars, the inflation. So I'm always just seeing what it is. I already know it. I'm just more or less kind of backing it up, saying, "See, this is what's happened." But like today with Vegas, I can prove Austrian economics with it by saying, here's the market. They're trying to go over a market. So they're actually trying to ignore this market, create another market up here. But you can't do that. The market creates this, not this creates the market. And they don't understand it because they're not Austrians. And that's the point. We understand it. We understand the outcome. They're going to go broke. We know they're going to go. It's not a question. It's not an opinion. It's a fact. You're charging too much. People don't like it. They're not going to go back to it. Same thing with football. They want to charge $500 for a ticket to the Lions game. Well, as I said, the Lions might only win 3 games this year. Yeah, they beat the Bears, but they're going to get their ass kicked by Baltimore. They're going to lose to Buffalo. They're going to lose to Philly and Kansas City and Pittsburgh. So they don't have that easy Jacksonville, Tennessee, Indy schedule. They got the Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, and Cleveland with Burrow out. Otherwise, they'd have lost that game. So, they might only win 3 games, and 2 of them are going to be the Bears. And now maybe they beat Minnesota. I don't know. Minnesota's terrible with J.J. McCarthy. What a mistake that was. How many times did I say he sucks? And yet nobody believes me until he goes out there and sucks, just like Caleb. Right? That's why we took Atlanta over Minnesota. My friend in Vegas says, "Where'd you get that game from?" And I says, "Because I'm betting Penix over J.J. McCarthy, who sucks. He can't be a favorite. J.J. McCarthy can't beat anybody by points. And Penix is great, as we know." By the lake, you eat mushrooms? I like them. I do eat mushrooms. Those are yellow. Those are Russian. I don't know where she got them. I eat the regular, like shiitake, I guess. I put them in my omelets mostly. Occasionally, I prefer to cook them over eating them raw in the salad. I do that. But yeah, I mean, all these restaurants are going to go out of business. They think they can just raise their prices and they think they can add these fees, and they can't. Believe me, if this hotel had a resort fee, I would never stay there again. If all of them had resort fees, I wouldn't go there. I would go to a place that didn't have resort fees. I do like there, but there's other cities up there that probably won't have the resort fees. It's not a prudent play. It's like me adding a resort fee to my Teaserking. It's $100 for pro and college and locks for the week. Oh yeah, but there's another $30 in a resort in a football fee added on. I wouldn't have any customers. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't want to. I would be offended to charge it. So I don't know where they're getting it. You charge what you feel the service is worth, what the market will bear. It's simple. Even Walmart, you bought a phone for my friend, and they double taxed me. They charged me $2.99 for a tax, and then $2.99 for another tag. I'm like, what's this? Well, this is because it's a prepaid phone. I'm like, if you're going to start resort feeing me, I will not be back at Walmart. So don't fuck with us about these bullshit costs. And that's what happens. So yeah, I do eat mushroom. I eat most vegetables, zucchini lately. Um, and I get all my, all my cayenne pepper and Celtic salt and all that, and garlic and ginger, and I'm always eating my ginger and my cinnamon. So that's good. And just avoid all these processed foods. That's what's killing everybody, the processed foods. So be careful with that. Be careful with your sugars, and you'll be okay. Anyway, I think that's it. I'll be on tomorrow morning, 11 to 1 with the pros. And I've got 4 locks going tomorrow in the pros. I love them. And a few other strong plays. College, I thought about a lock, but I didn't play it. I did think about locking the Michigan under, but I just didn't do it. And there was a lot of other ones to play. A few against the Z teams, a few just teams that are kind of hidden that are really good. But when we find our locks, we play them. And we got 4, and I'm almost surprised I didn't lock Kansas City tomorrow. They're 0-2. They have to win. They're playing the Giants. They're going to win. At least they have to win. But I didn't lock. I played it, but I didn't lock it. So that was the only one I didn't think. You're welcome, Bobby Woe. It's good to see you again. Are we ever going to Capitol Grill? Do you want me to come down to Tampa or meet somewhere, Capitol Grilling it, to celebrate our $3,000 gold, which is about to go to $5,000 gold? Anyway, COMEX is pretty much broken, as you see silver at 43, because they have to have physical, which is gone. The physical is drained. Now, when you have a very limited gold supply and very high demand, which is what you have, the price has to go through the roof because more people want it than there is supply. So if I'm going to sell it, I'm not selling it for $3,700, but we haven't gotten to the physical state yet. However, there is a physical gold exchange in St. Petersburg, Russia, and Shanghai, and Hong Kong, Singapore, and Dubai, and something going into Saudi Arabia. So we will soon get a physical. So people will say, I want that bar of gold or that ounce of gold, and people will sell it and they'll work on the price. It won't be these stupid derivative options that fuck everything. So people think, oh, gold's not good. Gold is not. Silver is 42. Wait till silver hits 500, which it will do very soon. People think, oh, it'll never go over 50. Well, once it goes over 50 and it's at 100, then what people are starting to realize, they've been Madoffed. And I'm going to close with Madoff. I know it was a Ponzi scheme, but he was honest. He actually paid everybody. So if we were in Madoff, we gave him $500,000. He paid us 15% every year. He would pay us a little bit each month, and I would get. Everybody got paid until the end. So I don't know what kind of Ponzi scheme it was, but it was actually a safer Ponzi scheme than the banks are doing to you, giving you 2% interest on your money instead of 15. So he actually gave you 15% interest, and he paid you until the end when he got no. But how was that different in 2007, 2008 when they fucked your real estate trust? And our Attack on Wall Street guy, they said it's worthless. We delisted it. Well, how is that not a Ponzi scheme? So we gave it, but as soon as we couldn't get paid and people weren't paying for their mortgages, we're not going to pay you anymore. That was a bigger Ponzi scheme than what Madoff did. But yet Madoff go to jail and these banks won't. I mean, that's just ridiculous. So keep that in mind. Anyway, you have to buy gold and silver. This is not an opinion. This is a must. The Titanic is sinking. These resort fees. It's like the Titanic saying, "Hey, we're going to charge you. Oh, you ate lunch here. We're going to charge you a fee for that, and a fee because you're on the boat, and a fee because we got a captain." Wasn't that what I paid for when I bought the ticket? Isn't those how you come up with the ticket price? Yeah, but we want to double dip you. And you know what? And I'm thinking, well, I'm going to go on the lifeboat now because you're sinking because the water is coming in to the boat because you hit a fucking iceberg and you're sinking, and I'm going to the lifeboat. You can charge all the resort fees you want. And that's what's happening in Vegas. They are sinking. They are gone. Disney is gone. All these places that want to charge an arm and a leg are gone. Right? I don't know where these people are going to football games for $400 or $500 a ticket. You have to be crazy. I don't know where they're going with Bitcoin money. Well, wait till that goes. Oh, it's stock money. We're making all this money in stocks. Well, wait till that goes and crashes. All the paper shit's about to crash. The only thing that won't's gold and silver because you can't inflate or print it. Take that to the bank. All right. Let's go watch some football, go swim, go relax, maybe have a steak or ribs or something. All right. www.teaserking.com. Bobby Both. Pleasure as always. When are we meeting? Going to Capitol Grill in Tampa, I guess. There's one in Pittsburgh. Luke wants. I have one here in Troy. At least I did. I think I still do. So let's meet and celebrate $4,000 goal. All right. Take care, everybody. Have a good day. Good luck on your football. All right. I'll talk to you tomorrow morning. We'll talk pros.